by Poppins.
Second.
By Landine. Christine, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, we are now back into the Board of Equalization. At this time, we'll entertain any public comment. Hearing none, we will move on. Carla, item number 1 on our agenda. Mr. Meyer Henry.
Our first appeal is an owner-occupied status classification. It is parcel number 280.28.00.011, owned by Todd and Sabrina Meyer Henry. It is located at 500 West Lindcrest Trail in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. You can see on our first page is the property transfer in which they purchased the property. The assessor recommendation is no change to the classification. The owner owns another parcel that sits on 501 West Lindcrest Trail in Sioux Falls. And by SDCL 101339, only one single-family dwelling qualifies for the owner-occupied status. The second page is the certificate of real estate value, in which the appellant does not state that it's their principal place of residence, highlighted in yellow. The third page is where we sent notice that we're reviewing the owner-occupied status. That was sent February of 2024. Page 4 shows you some mailing tags that we sent the review to the property owner. The assessment notice, which states that it's not owner-occupied. And then I've also attached the law that pertains to the owner-occupied classification. SDCL 101339 states that it gives the definition of a single-family property, and that is a house, a condominium, residential housing consisting of 4 or less units, a townhome, a townhouse, a housing cooperative where membership in the cooperative is strictly limited to the stockholders, occupants of the building, a manufactured home. It also includes the unattached or attached or unattached garage, and then the parcel of land for which the structures are situated. This property is in question is located right here. This is also a single-family residence. It consists of a house, an unattached or detached garage, and then the parcel of land for which it sits. The applicant is also currently classified as owner-occupied on this property across the street. So by law, the owner-occupied classification is on one single-family residence. The law does go on to state that if a parcel of land is contiguous to the owner-occupied home or single-family dwelling, then that additional parcel of land would also qualify for owner-occupied. And I do want to give you an example of what the law intended use is referring to. So here's a piece of property where the property owner is getting owner-occupied, but they also own the land that's adjacent to the single-family residence. So this parcel, as long as it's used as one property, which is also stated in the law, as long as it's used as one property, it would qualify for owner-occupied status. For those reasons, I have, my recommendation is to not give owner-occupied for this additional single-family dwelling property.
And I agree with everything she says.
Go ahead, Todd.
The statute does say that, to give you a background on this, we're probably going to knock the one house down and move into the one that I've been remodeling, which is now going to be non-owner occupied, if you guys keep that. So my question becomes, with the statute, because we tax parcels, we don't tax uses we don't tax structures, correct? We classify parcels as owner-occupied, other, or ag. And the law does not state, so if we have two parcels that have two houses, but you're only occupying one, the question becomes, even though the other parcel is not being occupied, does that now disqualify it from being owner-occupied if it's next? We don't disqualify two farmhouses where we have one owner-occupied house and the other house that they moved out of because they did this, that they moved into their new house. You have two residences. We don't disqualify them because there's two residences on one parcel. And the statute says you can have two adjoining parcels that are owner-occupied. Therefore, the question was, can I have two residences when I only live in one, whether it be this one or that one, and disqualify one of the parcels as owner-occupied?
I can,
Carla, the question I wanted to pose is the state at all clear whether a road identified as a separating parcel of two parcels? Because if the road wasn't there, they'd be connecting parcels.
well,
Parcel.
The statute does say, a property is also considered contiguous if separated by a street or alley from the parcel containing the owner-occupied house.
but that law also says it can have owner occupied on the additional land that's contiguous. It specifies land,
No, it's-
not another single family dwelling.
I don't
If
see
they're
where it
used as
says
one
land.
property.
Yep.
Where does it say land?
I will show you that.
I'm looking.
It
Oh, it says
says
parcel of
land.
land. So he should get owner occupied on the land, but not the house that's sitting there?
That's the problem. I don't think you can do that.
Well, the statute doesn't-
Split a parcel into two unless it's platted out, right? We'd have to
Well-
plat the house out in order to,
We have several homes, we have several parcels in the county that have two single-family homes on them, and only one of them get owner-occupied. Only the one that they reside in.
How is the land treated if it's not divided parcel?
The land is all owner-occupied.
Or ag.
So the land in this case is split out on both parcels as owner occupied and they're getting a benefit from that?
So currently, this entire parcel is listed as non-owner occupied.
So can you split out the house from the land?
Well, we must be able to.
Because that's what the statute says.
So I did try to call the property owner twice, and that was going to be my recommendation, Commissioner Landine, was I do believe there is some gray area within the law that I could give them owner occupied on the land and not the structure on that second parcel. I don't
Well, that's
think
how
that
I'm
was the
reading it.
intent of the law, but
I'm just reading what it says.
it was really poorly written. It doesn't
Yeah.
help you guys.
By
I mean,
chance, you
Right.
know anybody that could clear that up for us
Yeah.
in the next section?
well,
If
I
there's
think
another-
give him the owner occupied on the land on the other parcel.
Motion.
Yeah, that's my motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion to grant owner occupied on the second parcel, the land only, not the house. Is that the intent?
Yes.
Okay. Motion was made by Landine, second by Poppins. Further discussion. Question, what's the land worth? How much is the house worth? Do we have that? Do we have to define that before we can go on?
it's separated out.
Separate it out? Okay.
And you're not questioning the values themselves?
Well, it's too late to question. that.
Right, okay, gotcha, perfect.
When he
Good
gets another
answer.
house.
When he's in his new house. Any further comments? If not, Christine, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes. Motion carries. Okay. Item number 2 on the agenda is Baker Justin and Annison Kelsey.
they are requesting phone.
Okay. They're on the phone.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Our next appeal is parcel number 241.11.04.006A. It's owned by Justin Baker and Casey Annison. It's located at 2730 Sylvan Circle in T, South Dakota. Their application is to be granted owner-occupied status. The assessor recommendation is no change to the classification. Property was purchased 11/3/2023 and recorded in the Register of Deeds office 11/30/2023. The second page shows where their certificate of real estate value falls in line with the same as the recording document in the purchase date. When they submitted an owner-occupied classification, it was stated that they did not qualify because they were not the owners as of November 1st, 2023. I gave you some laws and some information pertaining to the owner-occupied, that you have to own and occupy it as of November 1 of each preceding year to qualify for the next year. The applicants purchased their home November 3rd, 2023, and it was filed in the Register of Deeds office November 30th. There is some documentation where, let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger. That the Andersons or Annisons they were saying their utilities were on as of 10/10/2023, and they were not able to close after November 3rd due to the lender and delays. We did send owner occupied a denial. This is the mailing tags. We did note for next year to send them an application form. The assessment note went out as non-owner occupied. And again, some laws and rules that the owner they have to be the owner and the occupant as of 10/6/105, which is November 1. For those reasons, I requested no change to the owner-occupied classification. We do have some appellant documents that they wanted you to see. They have a certificate of occupancy sheet from the city, I believe it's from the city of T. Some agreements that were signed. These are just all the appellant documents. Utility bills, internet.
Okay. Who is representing, sir? Would you state your name and your address, please?
My name is Casey Annison, and the address is 2730 North Sylvan Circle in T.
Okay, Casey, present your case.
Well, based on just kind of the summary that was provided there, that I heard just for a few minutes, we had closed on our other house on October 10th. The builder had issued and allowed us to move in on 10/10 per the owner occupancy that the city of T had given us. At that point, we assigned all utilities and everything into our name, and we're paying those from 10/10 on. We had been made aware by the builder, who is Jaron Homes, that we could not close with them on 10/10 as they were still getting updated invoices and pricing from some of the subcontractors. But they did let us know that they needed to close by the end of October. On October 18th, we were given the final price from Jaron Homes and immediately gave that to our lender. Our lender had really everything in order. They were just waiting on the okay from the builder. I had let the lender know on 10/18 of the final price. And there was really nothing else needed to be provided from our side to the lender. We had advised them several times via phone conversation and email that we needed to close before the end of the month as per the contract with the builder. On 10/18, like I had stated, we had sent over everything needed that the lender had asked for. We had heard nothing until 10/24. They asked for the owner occupancy certificate. We sent that on 10/24. And then on 10/30, we received notification of closing that would happen on 11/3, November 3rd. I immediately reached out to the lender and advised that wasn't going to work. We needed to close before the end of the month. And they just basically told me that they weren't able to make that happen and the closing would be on November 3rd, and that they also let the builder, Jaron Holmes, know. So just due to this, we're just asking that you would reevaluate this for us, knowing that it's just a few days past the 11/1. We really did everything we were supposed to do and could do, but it was just unfortunately out of our hands due to the lender delay.
Okay, thank you, Casey.
Question.
You've heard the director and you've heard Casey's explanation. What action would you like to take?
I have a question.
Yes.
Casey, Commissioner Poppins here. Hey, are you declaring, or as on the November 1st, then declaring owner occupied status on any other home?
Nope, this is our only home.
And then, can you tell me, did you by chance escrow your money with the title company prior to the November 1st, or by November 1st?
We with the title company, we gave them our money from our other home, and yes, we escrowed it with them on our closing at 10/10.
So the funds were there.
Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Were you given any reason for it to be, for the closing to be delayed at all?
No, we had reached out and basically heard nothing back from. We had two contacts at our lender. I had reached out to both of those parties, and we didn't hear anything, like I said, until 10/24 when they asked for some more information, and then again on 10/30 they said, "Here's the date of your closing."
Further questions?
Carla, does the own give any detail what ownership means? If they've been in the home, we've got people across the nation squatting in a home and classifying it's their home just because they're living in it. This person has escrowed the money, the title company didn't process it for whatever reason in time. I mean, if we don't have some discretion for 2 days, what are we here for on this? I mean, it just seems very,
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, the statute's a per se statute. It's either completed or it's not. The statute really doesn't let us allow taking into consideration those other things. So as much as I want to give you credit for that, I don't think we're going to be able to, but I would certainly dig into the reasons for the delay, and if they weren't good reasons, I'd be asking for them to bump me some money back. Because
See, and
that's not right. It's not
I've
right.
listened to a lot of judges and a lot of attorneys argue what, different definition is, and that's where I'm curious what the true definition of ownership is by the state. So, own and occupy.
It's not even about the ownership status. I don't think it's about the check the box. Was it
Yeah.
box checked on a
It's
certain
ownership and
date?
occupy, right?
Right, I do believe, I don't know if it's in this particular statute that I have, but I believe somewhere it says as recorded in the Register of Deeds.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yes, I can't find
It doesn't
that
just say ownership, it actually specifies to the deed
as
recording.
filed in the register, courthouse, or let me,
Because if it just
Give me
says
just a-
ownership, I'm gonna believe that all of their intentions are met for ownership. They had the money that transferred over, they've already sold the other house.
So where are we, commissioners?
I'm looking,
We're
I've got
looking.
2 or 3 people digging into statutes. But, I mean, I would motion, but I'm gonna wait to grant it, and I know that I don't have 3 votes, I don't think, on that, so I'm gonna defer.
If I may, there's a lot of references in 101340 to the transfer date. So
Okay, thank you.
So the date on the transfer deed wasn't until the 3rd?
That is correct. 11/3/2024.
I think we have this discussion pretty much every year, and the statute kind of ties our hand, as much as I hate
That
that.
portion of it does, and it's terrible that we don't have some discretion. You know, when someone's sitting in their house, they've transferred the funds, and they're supposed to have closed, and they made it clear to their title company they're supposed to have closed, and the title company fails.
If this particular property, if the instrument date would have been October 10th, 2023.
Would have backdated it.
Absolutely. But it said November 3rd. It's too bad that someone didn't follow through on their actual purchase date.
Right, but the deed could have said as, the transfers as of 10/10.
Correct.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion to deny owner occupied status with discussion and a second. Motion by Landine, second by Poppins. Further discussion? Hearing none. Kristen, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Unfortunately, yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes. I would contact my title company.
I
though.
would. Somebody dropped the ball on,
Yeah,
on it,
somebody left
Casey.
you hanging.
Yeah, we're on your guys' side. Somebody did really screw up here, and that's
Yeah.
our next step. We thought we'd try this and see what we could get with you guys here. And I
You
mean,
know, and that's part,
unfortunately,
you know,
it's not
the
the
statute
answer.
would have to be changed to give us some wiggle room on the owner occupied status, and it doesn't, unfortunately.
But we
I mean,
thank
what's
you,
the
Casey,
point
for
of-
trying and wish you good luck with your next,
home.
when you have, with your title company, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Carla, we have item number 3.
Our next appeal is parcel number 240.81.05.010, owned by James Barrett. It's located at 600 Quartites Avenue in T, South Dakota. The appellant is requesting owner-occupied status. The assessor recommendation is no change to the classification. Application was received in the office March 20th, 2024. This is the certificate of real estate value in which the owner filled out that is stating that he is the owner, but it's a new property, so that we needed a long form on file. We did receive an application March 20th, 2024, in which time we sent a review or a denial that the application did not meet the March 15th deadline. I'm going to go back to this page 4 for just a bit. This shows where we sent an application for owner occupied in November of '23. We did a second mailing, January of 2024. They received their assessment notice, which was their third indicator that the property was not owner occupied. I do want to go back to this particular property because on March 15th, which is the deadline, the appellant sent the owner occupied certificate to the assessor email, but unfortunately, they sent it to assessor@lincolncountysd.gov and not .org. So we never received the email application. We received the paper application March 20th. I did reach out to the appellant and asked for their return receipt. They were stating they didn't get the return receipt for 2 days. Had I seen a return receipt 2 days after they sent it to the gov, I probably wouldn't be standing in front of you today.
Okay.
Yes, will Mr. Baird be here today? Will he be appearing?
I believe he's on the phone.
Is he on the phone right currently? Okay.
Yes, I'm on the phone.
All right. Jim, you've heard what our Director of Equalization has said. It's your turn to make your appeal, sir.
Okay. Not too much of an appeal. I mean, it's not a huge deal either way, I guess. And it was kind of my mistake. There was a deadline, and technically I missed it. I guess the only reason I'm appealing it is because I did send it in. I made a mistake and sent it to the wrong address, and it would have been there on time had that not happened. But it did happen, so I just see this could really go either way, to be honest with you.
Sir, Carla had indicated that if you could have presented a return error message, did you receive anything like that about your email not being able to be sent?
Oh, I did. It was like 2 days later. It got kind of caught in limbo.
Sure. Did you present that to the office by chance?
I did not present it. To be honest with you, I don't remember being asked to present it, but that doesn't mean I wasn't asked.
Could you find it?
I could probably look for something like that, yeah. I don't know.
Our issues, our timelines of being able to get through all of our appeals. Does Carla, if we make a decision to deny the request and he does present it, do you have discretion in your office to accept it if you still wish to do so?
He would first have to appeal it to the Office of Hearing Examiners, and then the stipulation would be presented if
Okay.
those
Did you hear that, sir?
I did, yeah.
Okay. At least you would have that option there, and then if you could get that document, or that
Yeah.
verification, it may be worth your time. Anything else that you'd want to share?
No, I don't think there's anything, pertinent or relevant. I mean, it's just basically a deadline and I missed it.
Yeah,
So,
mistakes happen.
I don't think I got any.
And there's next year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'll as long
He
as you
loses
fill out the
1
paper,
year
you'll get
of
it next year. Yeah,
owner
so.
occupied status.
With that, Mr. Chairman, I'll offer a motion to deny the request for owner occupied status for this tax year.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Poppins, second by Commissioner Landine to deny the owner occupied status. Further comments or questions? Hearing none. Christine, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries 3-0. Jim, we thank you for your patience and understanding. Apply next year. Take advantage of it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
We now have completed for our agenda items 4 and 5, so we'll move to item number 6.
Which we gotta wait for,
Do we have to wait? I think he's here.
Yes.
unless he's here.
He's here. Oh, not this one. Oh,
Anyone
okay.
here for Harrisburg Storage Company?
Are they going to be on the phone?
In person.
Okay, we'll wait.
Okay.
I move to recess until 1:50.
Motion made to recess. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Kristen, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, we are now in recess till 1:50.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, we are now back to the board, being a Board of Equalization. We are on item number 6, Harrisburg Storage. Carla?
Our next appeal is parcel number 270.56.00.2800. It's owned by Harrisburg Storage Company LLC. It's located between the addresses of 125 and 139 West Prospect Street in Harrisburg. It is storage units, 136 total storage units consisting of 4 buildings. The total square footage is 24,000 square feet. It is in an average quality of construction, or the grade. The lot size is 2.6 acres. We had a total assessed value of $1,723,960. It did appear before the local board of equalization. The local board lowered it to $1,304,000. The Director of Equalization did appeal it back to be heard at County Board. I did not agree with the local board's change. So I'm requesting that the assessor's recommendation is to bring it back to $1,723,960. We do show some sales of comparable storage units. These are recent sales of newer mini storages so there are no recent sale of newer mini storage buildings in Lincoln County, so we did go across the line just to show that there are some market for some storage units, but these are from Minnehaha County. The assessment equity, these are properties located in Lincoln County. They are newer type storage facilities, so we felt those were very comparable for assessment equity. Our 3 approaches to value page shows where our, if we price them by structure only or total value, so structure only is $55 per square foot. If we add in the land, it's $72 per square foot. The sales is showing between $53 and $138 per square foot. And if you do the total, it's between $56 a square foot and $160, so well below the sales price for the subject property. If we're looking at assessment equity, it's between $32 and $43 a square foot. And the total is between $35 and $47 per square foot. The biggest difference between the approaches to value on the cost approach with our comparables, the comparables are older than the subject property. In some words, upwards where they're getting up to 26% depreciation because of their age. On the next page where we show the map, we show where our subject property is located and the comparables that we used. The owner did supply for the board some comparables which they thought were comparable. We felt they were inferior to the subject property. With that, assessor recommendation again is to bring back the value from the local board value to $1,723,960.
Okay. Sir, you're here for the appeal. Would you state your name and address, please, sir? Right behind the podium, if you would.
Alex Pugach, Harrisburg Storage Company.
And your address, sir?
125 through 139 West Prospect Street, Harrisburg, South Dakota, 57032.
Thank you. Okay.
All right, thank you for that. I guess I'd be, I'm not 100% sure where to start. I'd like to see the logic, or I guess the reasoning behind why we're valuing, or the county's valuing the facility at a 1.7 million, I'll use round numbers here for discussion, at a 1.7 million value. When I pulled comparables, I know we pulled some from Minnehaha, but at the highest peak on Lincoln County cost, I saw $47 a foot, which would put you at about 1.1 million. Granted, it's used facilities and stuff, so when our cost is about 1.3 million a year ago, it's a one-year-old facility, to add, $400,000 in value where the property is still going through lease up, I think is just, it's a little excessive. I'm not asking for below cost or anything in that regard. I just would like to, I guess, hear the opinions and the reasoning behind it. I have different, cost breakdowns I went through all the way, starting in 2023, all the way through 22, and added on all the way through 2009, even as the oldest one here on price per foot. Different transactions that happened, sprinkled some in through Sioux Falls. The problem I struggle with in all of this is the Sioux Falls ones, their income approach is substantially different than what I'm getting. Their rental revenues are higher, which then, if you're borrowing at a low cap rate, I'm in lending, so this is kind of very close to me. It just doesn't make sense. I even tried to do my own little, if I were to sell it for that $1.7 million, put a 25% down payment, borrowed at 8.25%, I'd still be losing $24,000 a year based off pure income approach, off that valuation. And I stressed it all the way down to 6% to lose $2,000. So let's just say break even. So that's when I'm comparing against Sioux Falls and all the surrounding communities. It just doesn't, one day I hope to get there. It just doesn't make, I'm not connecting the dots on how we're getting there as of today, 1 year later after the construction's been open. We have projected targets. Hopefully one day we can get there. But even on, increase in taxes, that brings the valuation of the property down because a lot of it's so subject to income capitalization. And our cost basis, hard cost, was 1.279 million.
What was the hard cost again, sir?
$1,279,025.
Are you full?
No.
How full is it?
Oh, today, about 70%, give or take. Maybe 71. If you guys want to see some of the stuff in addition that I submitted to the local put together, it's just all my cost break, or all the comps that I found on the assessor's deal, and then additional ones from appraisals and whatnot, so.
And then when that was bare land, what did you pay for it?
Our bare land cost was $360.
And when was that you
That
closed
was,
on it?
it'd be about 2 years ago, I believe, June of the prior year. And then half acres, like 0.5, I guess, half an acre of that is, it's unusable. There's power line easements that run through it, so that's just unutilized space that we'll never, I guess, get a return on it, but we knew that going in. It was just part of the deal, so.
The Board of Adjustments, sir, reduced that to, for the land, 360, and for the buildings, 920. Is that right? Or is that your request?
Oh, that's what I believe the local board determined
Okay.
in Harrisburg. So if I were to base it off the value that's being assigned today of that 1.7, it would put us at about a 5.6 cap, which I don't think that, a 7.5 cap rate is what we've been seeing as comparables, puts it at 1.3. which is about where we're at today. And I stress tested it in other ways. 6.5 would put it at 5, 8.5 would put it at 1.1.
Further questions for Alex?
What do you want to do, Mike?
If not, what action do you want to take, commissioners?
Your construction cost of 1.279, is there any owner equity that you put into that? Is that all?
No, this is just hard costs. That's not factoring the
And that was just the structure, or does that include the land?
land included.
Do you have that documentation with you?
Yeah. Can I step forward? We have about 24,000 square foot of rentable space for the storage.
And those hard costs are as of what date?
About a year ago, little. Land was a little longer, but by the time we acquired all the materials and so forth.
Do you think you could rebuild all of that, buy the land and rebuild it for the 280?
I think it'd be close. I really do. Steel's come down some since it's peaked out, and as long as there's land available for zoning with storages, it'd be close.
And Carly, you use cost approach or income?
Cost approach.
Did the
Like
income
earlier-
approach come in higher?
The reason why this is higher than the comparables that we're even showing is the comparables on the cost approach. Some of them are getting up to 26% depreciation because of their age. This particular, these units are new. So very little depreciation in the. within the
Sure, so
cost approach.
but you did do the income approach, correct?
No, I don't have any income information.
Okay.
I have it available if you'd like to see it. We use a 33% operating expense with management fees factored.
And you're doing cost approach on all of the storage units across the
Yes.
board?
Yes.
Commissioners, do we have a recommendation?
Do you have a recommendation, Commissioner Schmidt?
I don't know if you'd want mine.
Well, I do.
Well, I looked at what his request is, and I'm taking notes here on what he said. His original cost was 1.7. Is it-
1.27.
1
So
point-
unless there's a reason to doubt his numbers,
Yeah.
I've got to believe him. So my recommendation is to move it back to the local boards of $1,304,000, which would be a land value of $360,000
Yep.
and structure value of $920,000. No, sorry, that's not right.
It was 980, that local. It was three-
980, thank you.
980. So your recommendation, land, 360,000, and the structure at 980,000, correct?
No, that's not right.
324,000.
There you go, thank you.
I don't want to go, I mean, it's worth every bit of what he paid for it, the land. If he paid 360.
What was the structure by the local board?
Structure was 980,
980?
right,
So plus the 360 then.
correct?
All of our land is being valued the same. I'd like to, if we could adjust anything, just adjust the structure costs down to what your recommendation is, but leave the land value the same since everybody's being valued at that same land pricing.
All right, so if we left the land at the 396, 396,
And the structure at 980?
no, just a second.
I think it'd be
Gotta do some
944 if you're adjusting to a structure.
Commissioner Poppin, did you finish your recommendation?
She was doing some new math.
You're still doing some math, Commissioner.
That puts, if we leave the land where it is, then we would go to 943,604 on the building.
And the land stays at 396,
Correct.
396.6. Commissioner Poppins,
If that's your motion, I'll second it.
we have a motion by Commissioner Landine, seconded by Commissioner Poppins to leave the land at 396, and we move the dwelling from, down to $940,604. Is that correct?
943,604.
Yes. Further comments or questions from the commission? Hearing none. Christine, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes. Motion carries. Alex, we thank you for coming.
Thank you much.
Okay. Next item is
Yes.
at 2
you.
o'clock, but we are right on schedule. CJB Townhouse LLC. Carla.
The next 10 parcels are referring to the same types of property. They're all owned by CJB Townhomes LLC. I'll start with the first parcel number, 270.70.00.401. This property is located at 321 Honeysuckle Drive in Harrisburg. It is they're apartment type properties, but they're individually parceled. This particular property is 1,394 square feet. It has a 3-fixed bath. It has a garage that's attached, 638 square feet, so a double stall garage. Its current assessment went out at 208,564. We have some comparables of other type units that are similar to the subject property. We did have to reach out into other communities to find some comparable properties. One in which comp 1 is in Harrisburg, the other comp number 2 is in T, and then we pulled one from Sioux Falls. Comp 1 is a stacked unit, meaning there's a unit on the main level and then one on the upper level, and then side-by-side units with the same type of stacked property as comparable number 3. On our 3 approaches to value, our subject property is coming in at $141 per square foot. Using the cost comparisons of our comparables, it comes in between 129 and 146 per square foot. The market is indicating a valuation between 149 and 167 a square foot. This was heard at local board. Local board lowered it to 164,377. I appealed back the local board's decision to the 208,564. The subject they are larger. They're large units with double garages. They're individually parceled. The entire condominium property is not under the same ownership. There is one that has sold. Therefore, the comps that we're giving you are also individually owned properties. The subject is with the the subject property is within the comparable assessment value range of both in the sales and the cost approaches to value. We did not do an income approach. It was considered. We didn't perform an income approach because of the parcels are not all owned by the same ownership. So we looked at these individually rather than as a whole. Last page it shows where the subject property is located and where we pulled the comparables from. With that, I'll stand by for any questions.
Okay. We have a representative from, Alex, you want to come forward, please? State your name and address, if you would.
My name is Joelle Benson, and my address or the address of the building?
Your address.
6212 South Durrell Trail, Sioux
Okay.
Falls.
Thank you.
All right, so I get a little nervous. We've done this at the local board, but I just have one question before I start. It says the last day to appeal with you guys is April 2nd, and then we got notification. I didn't understand how the local board could be denied by Carla. And then I got notification from her on the 3rd that had been denied. Is that normal? Even though, so that's why you appealed for me? Because I wasn't able to appeal because the appeal date had already passed.
Right. So I didn't appeal for you.
For the
I appealed,
CJP?
yeah, I appealed the local board's decision because I didn't agree with it.
Okay.
So then by law, I am to notify the county auditor, the appellant, and the city that I am
Okay.
appealing their decision.
So this, what was different is since it wasn't just me, like not liking the local board, it was your denying it, then you appealed their decision. So that's why we're here.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
All right, so I have, I know this is probably on, but I'm gonna give you some handouts, just so you have them in front of you. I have my comparables and my income and expense sheets.
Just a reminder, we're on the clock, so.
You can cut me off?
We're trying to hold it to our 10 minutes.
Just trying to get everybody
Yep.
through.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We do have 20 minutes for this one, by the way, scheduled.
We do? Oh,
for all
Because
10
there's,
of 'em.
for all of them.
yeah.
So are you testifying about all 10 properties?
I'm testifying about 9, and then 1 is different. 9 are actual townhomes that we rent, and 1 is land. So I'll show you the difference there when we, I guess, get to it.
So the first 9 are okay, and then there's 1.
No, none of them are okay.
Oh, okay.
None of
I
them
bet
are okay. All of them that we're appealing. So the 9 are
Similar.
similar. Like she
Yeah.
told you 1, there's 8 more that are similar. And then the land is different. So, what why I'm appealing. First, our goal is to provide the Harrisburg community affordable housing. The tax assessed value of our properties is forcing us to operate at a deficit. The income generated by these properties does not support the current tax assessed value, and we have enclosed copies of the income statements from the property. This is just a preview, then we'll go a little more in detail. Second, properties built more recently than ours are tax assessed at a lesser value. Ours are not properly assessed for the years they were built based upon the comparable properties that we have. Third, the property was appraised in 2020 at $1,130,000. And I know that's 4 years old, but in 4 years, it is now, when I add up all the assessments, $2,204,000. So it's gone up in 4 years over $1 million. So if you look at the comparable that I gave you, the first one is, they assessed it at $205,000. It was built in 2024. If you take 40% depreciation, our townhome would be at $123,636. So our townhome that was built in 2006 was actually assessed higher than this one built in 2024. The second comparable was built in 2023. It was appraised at 202. Ours was appraised at 208. Again, with 40% depreciation, our townhome would be $121,742, which is significantly lower than these brand-new ones. The third comparable that we found was built in 2003, so it is a little older. The appraisal, what value was $145,000, and then ours built in 2006 was $208,000. So again, we're seeing a lot where ours is a lot higher as being built in 2006 as what we feel like it should be. So those are my comparables. Does anybody have any question about that? Ours is 18 years older than the 2024 comparable that we had. So for us, the market value is not in line with those. Then I want to tell you a little bit about our family business. In 2012, we originally bought the building as a 9-unit rental. We didn't set up the building as individual parcels. It was that way when we bought it, and consider it then and do today as a 9-unit rental building. We haven't changed anything, only the terminology changed. Just by changing terminology to individual parcels and not allowing the income-based assessment, it shouldn't up our assessment significantly as much as it has, as the use of the building has not changed. So I just think it's very unfair that they will not even look and allow the income-based assessment. That is what it's always been. And unfortunately, before we bought these 9 townhomes, one had been sold, and she continues to live there. And so that's where we see some of the, I think, difference. But anyway, this is our livelihood, my family business, my grandpa, my son, my dad. We are not a big operation. Tax assessments are going to prohibit my family from operating this business in Harrisburg. I was told the highest and best use of this building would not be as rentals, but all sold individually. So they, because individual parcel, would like to see us sell them because that would be the best value for the city. This business is a family legacy, starting with my grandparents, which our children want to continue, and we do not want to be forced to sell. I have copies of the income and expense I gave you from the past 4 years. Even with the taxes lower, we have a negative cash flow or small positive. We have wonderful tenants, and we have great effort to keep the building in excellent condition. We provide affordable housing for the community, as 6 of the 9 tenants have lived there between 5 to 12 years. We've had 5 or 6 elderly people actually pass away in our home, not in the apartments, but because that's their home. And, what the assessments possibly forcing us to do is making them move if we have to sell them. They cannot also afford to jump rent $250. Many of them are on fixed incomes, and they are at their max is what they can afford. So the tax assessments are hurting residents in Harrisburg. The last 3 appraisal, like I told you in my beginning, our appraisal establishes our position that we have undue increases. Our appraisal done in May was $1,130,000. Our March assessment is $2,204,000, which is an increase of $1,074,000. In less than 4 years, it has almost doubled. So from 2022 to 23, our appraisal went up 37%. From 23 to 24, it went up again 37%. So in the last 2 years, our value has gone up 74%. There. So that is what I have for the actual townhomes that are rented.
Carla, what, you did not do income approach on these parcels?
Did not, no.
Do you think that that should be done? And if not, can you tell me why?
Well, we did not do an income approach on it just because they're individually parceled. We look at that as its highest and best use, like the appellant said. Many parcels, condominium type properties are sold that way, so that's how it's being valued. Income is considered, but not always used for valuation, and that we just stuck that our cost approach to value using a market type analysis was the best fit for these properties. And
So-
the one unit that was sold in 2008. It sold for $150,000 back in 2008.
Okay. Would it be, I don't know the answer to this, and perhaps you don't either, but if this was all parceled out as one unit, so it had one address and then there were, unit numbers on it and they weren't separate, would you look at an income approach, generally speaking, if it was more like a rental complex?
We always ask for the income information, and we try to determine if that is the best approach to
Okay.
value to use. So, it is something we consider, absolutely.
Okay, sure.
Right now, it's being valued as apartments.
It's being priced as apartments
Oh,
because of the
priced.
style of the building. The units themselves are all back to back, so they don't have a back exit or entrance, if you will, a patio door or such. But
All right, thank you.
I guess what we're ultimately asking is the local board agreed with our proposal of a 5% increase for the townhome portion, and then for the land, a 10%. We're just asking for that to, be approved, I guess, is what the local
Right,
board.
sometimes the local boards like to make us the bad guys, so.
Yeah.
It's just kind of the way it works.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm just-
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's just that, there is one unit out there that isn't appealing their value.
Commissioners, what do you want to do, if anything?
These are some of the tough decisions that we have to look at when properties commingled and being used for rental property when they're individual. We've ran across this multiple times. And do you believe that they would sell better as a unit or individually if you were actually to liquidate them?
I think somebody's gonna wanna buy them as a big unit, personally. We've been in the rental business and we know that that's what they want, is rental units. Can we sell it for $208,000? I don't think so. But obviously I'm, the one saying that I think they're worth $160,000 and not $208,000. The jump of it is just incredible, and, again, we just can't, at that price that they're taxing us at, we can't, we'll just be in the hole for our tenants, and they're, 9 of the tenants that have lived there for numerous years, I don't know what they're gonna have to do, but, yeah. I just feel like even the comparables that I have show that it's valued at too high. If you take 40% of those comparables I gave you, I feel like our townhomes are assessed too high. We're building new ones for $205,000, and ours is a 2006, assessed at $208,000.
Commissioner Poppins, I could support leaving the land at 11,513 and putting the structure value at 172,655.
I We have a motion at,
I'll second for discussion.
Okay.
we have a motion and a second to leave the land at 11,513 and the value of the property at 170.
172,655.
665. That's okay. Discussion. Commissioner Poppins?
This is where we get into a difficult situation. We're looking at a property that is not commingled as a commingled property for income approach. And I disagree. I do believe that individually, the highest value would be each parcel on its own. The market is telling us that. Now, if you choose to market it differently, and it only having to be sold as one unit, it may be not be able to bring the individual pricing. So there's nothing to prevent you from piecemealing it off. Same token, I understand that you're trying to find affordable housing. Did you receive any tax qualifications for buying this for any other purposes or section for housing of individuals? No.
No. We bought it as a rental. It's been a rental since we bought it, and
There's
that's,
no tax credits, I'm
no
sure.
tax credits. Mm-mm.
The problem comes in is if we do this on one, we should be doing it on all, even ones that aren't in front of us, and those are not in front of us, the ones that have been used to get appraised already, so.
Any other comments or thoughts? Hearing no other comments, Christine, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Landine.
Just a second. Mr. Chairman? So,
Yes.
I mean, we have to agree on this. So Mike, are you,
Yep.
are you thinking you're a no on that?
I'm thinking I'm a no on this.
And you want to leave it as is?
The crux comes into it that these are individual housing units that I think the data indicates what they would sell for if they were sold individually. We've run across this many, many times. If we do this on this one, then it's an absolute for anybody that we've had in the past and we will have in the future. It's just a precedent that I'm not ready today to start, I guess.
But would all of these type of configurations, Mike, how would we differentiate between a multifamily and owner occupied?
One property description, if it's one parcel versus individual parcels.
Have you ever gotten a certified appraisal on your properties?
Yeah, in 2020, it was 1,330,000. I have it right here.
So, Mike, Commissioner, if I follow you correctly, what you're looking at is not necessarily, you're looking at as an individual housing unit, what that would, as opposed to
Yeah, I mean-
a multifamily
Yeah,
concept.
it's not, you can't treat them individual properties, even though they, for their purposes, are using it as multifamily, because it's not multifamily.
If I may add to the discussion, there's a difference in zoning on properties like that. They're either zoned as multifamily or they're zoned for single-family attached dwelling. And there's differences in permitting
Yeah,
within
multifamily
that
is
zoning.
considered, yeah.
All right, what do you want to call the question then? Mr. Chairman, you want
Yes.
to go ahead?
We have to-
I'm gonna vote no.
So this is just on the one parcel that you're taking this photo?
So
Correct.
we're looking
Yes.
at just because I know you're bringing this up, but you still don't think it's valued too high compared to their comparables and our comparables? I still think it's valued too high. If you take the rental out of it, it's still valued too high.
Well, it
I
defeats-
voted no.
I'm voting no.
We have a no, 2 no's.
No to.
I'll say no.
Her motion was to
I don't
drop
agree
the
necessarily with
assessment.
this, but I'll vote no. So this one is denied.
That was just that motion. So is there a motion to leave the values the same, or what do you guys want to do?
Well, I'd like to see some adjustment on here. I thought your original proposal wasn't too bad, Commissioner.
Well, it failed, so.
Oh, that failed, so we're done. So do we have a alternate proposal? Now, so I understand, these are the rents that you're receiving on the, are they full market rents, or are they given some dispensation for affordability or anything?
They're full market. I think the average I think if I say the average we're receiving is about $1,280 per unit. I think that's pretty market value. I mean, we can't go up a lot more.
Okay.
I would move that we leave the land value $11,513, bringing the property for the structure down to $175, for a total of $186,511.
Was that your motion?
That is my
We
motion.
have a motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Commissioner Poppins and a second by Commissioner Landine to leave the land prices at 11,387 and dwellings at 186,511. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Christine, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes. Lloyd, motion carries. Next item, Carla.
So the next parcel is the property owned at 317 Honeysuckle Drive. It's parcel number 270.70.00.402. It's 1,386 square feet. Double attached garage, 638 square feet, one bathroom. The assessment went out at 207,880. These are slightly different units. You know, some of the square footages are different. The patio slightly different, so they are different valuations. So the value went out at 207,880. Local board lowered it to 163,837. And the recommendation, I appealed back the local board's decision and recommended the valuation be at 207,880.
How similar are these two?
They're very similar.
They're
I mean,
virtually identical. Okay.
We could dispense with, I have a motion if you would like to hear it.
Yep,
Yep.
let's do it.
I would leave the land at the 11,387, the structure at 175,000, for a total 186,387.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Poppins, second by Commissioner Landine. Land at 11,387, structure at 186,511. Further discussion? Hearing none. Christine, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries.
So the last parcel, which is the bare land parcel that the appellant was referring to.
Are we on item 10 then?
Are we on,
It'll be item 16, I believe it is.
So we skipped all.
What do we do with,
What about all those other
Well,
ones?
what about?
we got,
They all,
no, we're all different slightly
Oh,
because of
okay.
land. We gotta go through all those.
oh, you bet. Sorry about
Number
that.
12 on here, which is
Yep.
different.
The formula will stay very similar unless something changes, so.
The next parcel is 313 Honeysuckle Drive, parcel number 270.70.00.403. This is a unit that is 1,394 square feet. Has 638 square foot finished garage, one bathroom. Total assessed went out at 208,507. The local board lowered it to 164,320. I appealed back the local board's decision, bringing the assessor recommendation back to 208,507.
is there any of these properties that are significantly different, or are they pretty much almost identical? I mean, for all practical purposes.
All practical purposes, they're.
So if it's all right with you, I'd like to stay with the same formula, which is leaving the land at the my motion, if you're willing.
I'm with you.
$11,456, structure 175 for 186,456.
We have a motion by Commissioner Poppins. Do we have a second?
This is just on item 10, correct?
Yes.
Yep, so moved.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion, hearing none. Carla, call the roll, please. Or Christine, pardon me.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes.
Our next property is at 307 Honeysuckle Drive, parcel number 270.70.00.404. It is a similar unit, 1,394 square feet. It does have 638 square feet with finished garage, 1 bathroom. Total assessed value went out at 208,534. The local board lowered it to 164,347. The assessor appealed back the local board's decision, bringing the assessor recommendation back to 208,534.
Anything different? Okay. Motion on this would be leaving the land value at 11,466, structure value of 175,000 for a total of 186,466. Did I jump one?
I have 11,483 for the land.
Yep.
I did jump one. Thank you for catching that.
11,494.56, correct?
So I have the answer for the next one then. 186,443.
Okay, you left the land at,
11,443.
The land is 11,483 if you're on the right one.
Then I keep messing up. Then 83, 483.
Yes.
So motion repeated, 11,483, structure 175, total 186,483.
okay. We have a motion. Do we
I'll
have a
second.
We
I'll
have a
second.
What number am I on then, so I stop getting lost?
Your number on number 10.
No,
Now, no.
you're on number 11.
Now?
That's the motion is on number 11.
That's what I thought it was on.
How can
No,
number
on the-
11
Are
be?
you looking at the spreadsheet or are you looking at?
I'm looking at my screen.
I'm looking at, if the land is 483, I'm
That's number
looking at
10.
is item number 10.
Is that my problem?
If you just use the last three of the parcel numbers.
I apologize. I apologize. We have documents that are different.
Parcel
than-
number ending in 404. That is
That's
the
the
one
one.
we're currently.
That's what we're
10.
doing on? Thank you.
That is number 10, item number 10. It's what's on the agenda at 4:04. So
Okay.
Commissioner Poppins has a motion for the land to be kept at 11,483 and the property at 175,000. That's your motion.
Yes.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Christine, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries 3-0. Item number
1 minute for this.
ending in 405, right?
Correct.
Okay, which is number 10.
That is located at 303 Honeysuckle Drive. Did you want me to go through all the information or just
I
the
don't know
assessor
that that's-
recommendation?
No, I think we've got it.
Okay.
Because we have a land value on this one of 11,466.
Correct.
Yep.
Leaving the structure, or moving the structure to 175,000. So that should be a total of 186,466.
Okay. We have a motion from Commissioner Poppins. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
The motion is to leave the land at 11,466 and the property at 175,000. Christine, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries. We are now on parcel that ends in 406.
Correct. That is located at 319 Honeysuckle Drive in Harrisburg. The assessor the assessor value went out at 208,606. The local board lowered it to 164,419. I appealed back the local board's decision, making the assessor recommendation 208,606. Land value 11,555.
Motion would be land stays at the same at 11,555, structure at 175,000, a total of 186,555.
Motion by Commissioner Poppins. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Landine. And the land stays at 11,555. The structure at 175. Christina, call the roll. Christine, call the roll, please. I forgot, didn't mean to call your sister.
Kristen. Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes. Okay, we're on parcel that ends in 407.
That is located at 315 Honeysuckle Drive in Harrisburg. The assessment notice went out at 208,558. The local board lowered it to 164,371. I appealed back the local board decision, making my assessor recommendation at 208,558 with a land value of 11,507.
Motion would read, leaving the land at 11,507, structure at 175,000 for a total of 186,507.
Motion by Commissioner Poppins. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Landine. For the record, we have land to remain at 11,507, the structure at 175 for a total of 186,507. Christine, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries. Parcel ending in 408.
That is located at 311 Honeysuckle Drive in Harrisburg. The assessed value went out at $207,649. The local board lowered it to $163,687. I appealed back the local board's decision and have an assessor recommendation of $207,649 with a land value of $11,460.
This motion would be land stays at the 11,460, structure at 175,000 for a total of 186,460.
We have a motion by Commissioner Poppins. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Landine. Land price to remain at 11,460. Dwelling at 175 for a total of 186,460. Christine, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries. Parcel number ending in 409.
That property is located at 305 Honeysuckle Drive in Harrisburg. The assessment notice went out at $207,661, was appealed to the local board. Local board lowered it to $163,699. I appealed back the local board's decision, making the assessor recommendation $207,661 with a land value of 11,472.
Motion would read, leave the land at 11,472 with a structure of 175,000, total of 186,472.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Poppins, second by Commissioner Landine. Motion is land prices remain at $11,472, dwelling at 175 for a total of 186,472. Christine, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries. Parcel number 412, ending in 412.
Correct. This is the land that surrounds all of the units that are not attached to the parcels with each unit. So this is just the excess land for the property. It consists of 38,341 square feet. We currently have it valued at $5.50 per square foot. You can see our tiered pricing level that shows the first acre is valued at $550, and then from there it tiers down. We had a total assessed value of $210,876 for this parcel. The local board, lowered it to $126,525. That was what the appellant requested. I appealed back the local board's decision, bringing the assessor recommendation back to $210,876.
I move to leave the land as assessed.
As assessed, can I talk?
I'll second, then we can have
Well-
discussion.
Yep.
I haven't been able to say anything.
Yep, that's fine.
Oh, okay.
We got time now.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. Well, as you can see, the land was at 115,000, and I know it hadn't gone up for a couple years, and it went up 83%, so $95,000. Again, I just feel like that's excessive. It's just little green spots, little green grass around our property. So, in order to, we asked for a 10% increase. I mean, you can give us a 10% increase next year, but for an 83.33% increase in our land, that is not. The other thing, I guess I'm just a little bit upset. I think sometimes I do these so fast. On my reason for appealing this land, the assessor said, subject units are individually parceled. Properties are equally assessed to similar properties. Assessment is not over market value. This isn't a property. So we pasted and we and that's not fair. That's not fair that they don't take a look at it and tell us the reason that they're not agreeing. So they took all our properties and said the same thing along with our land. This isn't a property, this is land. So I kind of have a problem with that because I feel like sometimes they do things so fast and it doesn't matter what we say.
Ma'am, I don't know, are you objecting to the fact that all your land prices remain pretty constant?
No, I'm objecting to the one land that's, she's talking about outside.
The 31,000 square feet of land that you have.
Yeah, it's just the 38, well, the lot size says 38. I'm objecting to, this is actually a parcel number, the land. So it's not with the other buildings.
Is it buildable?
No,
Is it used intertwined in your operation of the structures? Is it part of the park area, dog walk area?
no, it's just little
So
grass.
this was purchased as a separate parcel originally?
It was yeah. It was a part of all of our parcels, but that's a parcel of it. Does that make sense?
No, ma'am,
Okay.
it doesn't make any sense why, when they did this, why they would
I
have.
agree, like, we're paying lots of taxes on this land that's not sellable. It's got a little grass on it, and that's it, and we pay taxes on it.
Does this surround your property? Or close by?
Yeah, you can see it on parcel browser. It's the land that's part of where that whole building is.
Okay.
It's like isn't it like just the little grassy areas here and there?
It's the land surrounding the building.
It's typical for any condominium property to have a common area, and it's described in the condominium agreement where that common area is, and it's got a legal description.
We have any other comments
No.
that you want to make?
Do they walk their dog? I mean, is it integrated into the property at all? I mean, do your tenants, if they're allowed to have pets, do they walk it on this property?
Well, if they're allowed to have pets, they might go and pee on it. It's like right outside their patio.
So,
I mean, it's not big enough to walk a dog on, it's just
but
big enough.
it is part of it. It's hard for us to try to give that a value, because if you did sell it, then that's taken away from your people that are renting from you, because it is being used then as part of your property. You say it's not buildable, yes, you can't sell it like
Right.
that, but you're not gonna
Well, it's
sell
part- I
it.
guess it's part of their yard a little bit.
Yeah, so I don't know how we would value it any differently than how we do the land value for the rest of your property. And Carla, is that what we're using as a square footage for the land?
That is correct.
So this is the driveway.
No.
The driveway is the sidewalks, Carla.
As it looks on the parcel browser, yes.
Should we have a motion in a second? Yeah.
We have I'm trying to cut you off, but I'm trying to keep one eye on the clock here so we don't run too far behind. Is there any other comments you'd like to make on that?
I just think it's a huge increase. I just think it's unfair, it's undue.
There hasn't been an increase for 7 years, so that's the reason for my motion.
So your motion, Commissioner Landine, was to keep the land price at $126,525?
Correct. To keep the
No.
assessor's motion,
That's the local
Yeah.
board.
Local board, but what was
No.
your motion?
to
The-
keep the value set by the assessor.
Which is,
$10,876?
That's,
Let me go back to it.
that's verified, assessor's recommendation.
I have a motion.
210,876.
Carl, I have a question. You assessed this at $5.50 a square foot. Was that, given the fact that this is land surrounding a building and it's not something that is open to be built on or to be anything, was there any consideration given to that at $5.50 as opposed to land that has questionable stuff? I don't know. I'm gonna baseball one, like say $3 a square foot or $2 a square foot. I mean, I understand what you're saying about the land. It has of no value. It is just there for aesthetics. It's like a sidewalk or something like that, so.
But it is integrated into it. If it's not like a retention area that a
I
lot of
understand
people
what you're
will.
saying.
but I also feel like, I don't think it's our fault that it hasn't been increased in 7 years, and so all of a sudden, a whopping 83% does not seem fair either.
Yeah, the problem on that comes that the state does not give us the ability to, they require us to appraise it and bring it to full value or within a certain percentage of full value. It doesn't, we've faced this multiple times where people's property, for whatever reason, has not been viewed, and they're pretty substantial, even 100 or 200% increases, so.
Okay. Commissioner Poppins, we have a motion to keep the land at $210,876. I need a second.
You already have a second.
A second. Okay, further discussion? Hearing none. Christine, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Reluctantly, yes. Okay, that motion carries at that rate. We thank you for coming in. We have made some adjustments and do the best we can. Okay, we now have number 17, Creekside Commons LLC.
Our next appeal is parcel number 270.86.08.001. It's owned by Creekside Commons. It is Lot 1, Block 8, Creekside Addition to the city of Harrisburg. It is a multifamily mix unit. It has approximately 168 units. There's 35 buildings in total. We do have it as an average plus. It's in good condition. The total land size is 14.09 acres. We currently have an assessment on the structures at $18,128,229. That averages out to about $107,906 per unit. Our lot value is currently at $1,334,460, which averages out to $2.17 per square foot. We do have a tiered pricing, same familiar pricing that you have seen, like our first acre is valued at $550 a square foot, and then we tier down based on size. The assessment went out at $19,462,689. It was appealed to the local board. The local board lowered the value down to $16,093,750. I appealed back the local board's decision, making my assessor recommendation back to $19,462,689. On the second page, you'll see a blended mix of assessment equity or cost approach to value and properties that have sold in Lincoln or Minnehaha County, just to show what the sales are indicating for per square foot or per unit, whichever metric we used. The owner submitted some comps. We gave some, I guess, our overview of each comparison that the appellant gave. Some of the units are older, some are different style type properties. We've indicated the differences in green, if you can read that on your screen. It's a little small up there. Overall, on the three approaches to value, are on average, and this is going to include the land pricing as well, per unit, $115,849 per unit. In using the sales approach, we look at a valuation on per unit is $160,417 to $177,305 per unit. On the cost approach, which are just Lincoln County properties, per unit size is $138,352 to $191,045 per unit. The sales approach did include some Minnehaha County sales as well. On the next page, you'll see where we have the subject property is located in Harrisburg and where the comparable properties are located, a couple in Harrisburg and one over in Sioux Falls. And then on the next map is going to show you where comparables 4 and 5 lie in Minnehaha County. With that, I'll stand by for any questions.
Okay.
Also, this property is incomplete construction at this time. That was the last slide.
Oh, that's the last slide. Okay, so not all of the units are completed at this point. Thank you for pointing that out. We have the top several units that are anywhere between 40 and 90% complete. So only a portion of them are completed.
And is that taken into consideration in your valuation?
Yes.
What was the percentage of completion, would you say?
There's many buildings, so you can see the level of completion for each building and their address listed there.
So
Like-
how many of them, how many units aren't completed? I mean, just like, is it 99%, 98, 80? What would you say?
Well, there looks to be at least 20 buildings here, and I don't know how many units are in each building.
Oh, okay. So,
There's variation here, but this gives you the percent per building.
well, maybe we can find out from who represents Creekside Commons. Okay, would they come up, please? Sure. Name and address. Not that we need it, but
Todd Ernst, 6204 South Callington Circle, Sioux Falls. I have some information that we provided to the assessor's office. I'll just pass it on.
thank you, Todd.
These are some photos of,
Give this to Mike.
this is our analysis as well.
That's one, coffee.
Oh,
He'll bring me one.
Yep, that's in our
I
packet.
got,
This one and then
okay.
we got our analysis and some comparable.
All right, thank you.
Did everybody get 2
Yep.
packets?
We did.
So on the first page of the photos here are just some interior photos of the subject property, a completed unit. And then what you'll see for the other properties is we've taken photos that are on the websites of those properties that we're using as comps. And from a renter standpoint, you know, some of these are maybe a little bit older. They look very similar. they're gonna, you know, the rent prices are gonna kind of speak for themselves. So, but I guess I would submit that looking at the photos, they're fairly comparable in interior. We try to build these properties, okay? We're trying to build them as affordable as we can. They're affordable market rate. As you can tell, we're doing Formica, we're doing as cheap as we can for doors and flooring and everything. We're trying to build them literally as cheap as we can to try to really hit that target affordable market rate housing, okay? And when we will put together a project, we're looking to see what are the properties that are right nearby, what kind of rents are they getting, and we see when we'll look to see what the tax assessment is, we'll look up the tax assessment and see what those properties are assessed at. And, you know, our expectation going into that is that we're going to be equalized against similar properties. So the assessor's office has kind of pointed out, you know, stuff all over Lincoln County, stuff all over Minnehaha County. You know, I'll tell you, anytime we kind of bring up any kind of comps, you know, in other counties, we're always sort of told that, no, you have to look at everything within the same taxing district. So that's kind of what we're doing. And in fact, Creekside Commons, these are the properties that are just literally right within a mile or so of this property. Harvest Acres is a block away. That's my first comp right there, okay? Also a townhome style. Jackson Heights is the property literally right across the street from the subject property. Sawyer Point is another property that's probably about 2 miles away. Granite Townhomes is about 2 miles away, and then the other two properties are also within Lincoln County, but within the taxing district in South Sioux Falls. So the assessor's office is kind of throwing out, I mean, we believe that their methodology is flawed as far as how they're valuing newer properties and against properties that are maybe just a few years older than that. There's such a drastic difference in the value that they're putting on those newer properties versus those other properties. And I'll tell you, the rents just don't support it. With our analysis right here, when we called the assessor's office, we see that they were targeting really a fully completed assessed value of $150,000, $750 per unit. And we looked up the comparable properties that are literally just right there, also in Harrisburg as well, as far as what those properties are assessed at. We know what our rents are. We go on the websites for those similar properties, and we do a rent comparison analysis to see what those properties are getting for rents compared to what we're getting. And we can see that, you know, they'll show a diagram of the properties, they'll show how many square foot it is, they'll show asking rents, and we can kind of, you know, really gauge the difference in what our rents are versus those other properties' rents. And you can see with that analysis below, if you want to look at it just on a per unit basis, you know, straight, it supports our ask. And then, but you could also, if you do a rent adjusted basis, the average of our comp set in there, you know, substantially supports our ask. So with all this, we're targeting with our equalized comp set in there, properties that are just right there, also in Harrisburg, $125,000 per unit fully completed. And we agree with the methodologies for the percent complete. I think we called the assessor's office and did the same thing as you, which you'll see kind of on the backside here, which is our, you know, really taking kind of those same percents completes that the assessor's office, I think, used as of the assessment date of would have been November 1st. And then just really applied what we think the appropriate equalized, fully assessed per unit is. This is the argument that we gave to the local board in Harrisburg. They supported our argument, and they thought that this was a fair and equalized per unit assessed value for this property. So I just, you know, we think our analysis is strong here. We think this is fair, rather than trying to reach all over the city and look for the highest in comps that somebody might have sold the property for a few years ago. And we think that it's a much more sound, equalized approach to just look at the properties that are just right there that this property would be competing with. and what are they getting for rents, and then we should have an equalized value that's very close to theirs. So that's our ask.
Further questions? Mr. Ernst? I would say, Todd, you make a compelling argument for comparing those properties that are adjacent or practically adjacent to you.
Thank you.
I think that's Sawyer Point, but they're apartments in East Town. That's the way it looks. I'm positive that's an apartment. They're all apartments.
Carla, can you come up and defend, I guess, kind of the comparables that you use?
So on the comparable page number 2, these two comparables that we have right here are also in Harrisburg. The reason why we showed a couple properties in Minnehaha County is just so we could give you some idea of a market approach valuation system. We're not using a market approach valuation system, but we are trying to show you if it were to sell, they would be very similar to these types of properties. We use replacement cost new minus depreciation, and we take into consideration any market adjustments that could be placed on the properties for commercial, residential, type settings. But yes, the first two comparables are also in Harrisburg. I'm not, I mean, I understood what Todd was saying in his other comparables. I'm not sure why they weren't put into this system. There must have been, for your consideration, but we felt we had two comparable properties using the cost approach to value. That is the same approach to value that we're using for this appealed property.
Thank you.
And I guess one of the fundamental differences is I think you're trying to arrive at a full market value, and I'm asking to be equalized with other properties that are very, very similar to mine. And again, I think we've got this difference as far as, going out and maybe finding some comps as far as what the highest property would have sold for at some given point in time versus really just trying to make my taxes the same as some other properties' taxes that are just right next door.
When we value properties, we look at them in this exact same way. I mean, the two people that go out doing the appraisal on the commercial properties, they're looking at all these properties. We're using the same manual, the same guidelines, the same computer system to arrive at a replacement cost new.
And if I may, I would argue that we're not at market value. If you look at comp number 3, it sold for $25 million a couple of years ago, and we're at $19.5 million on it today.
I'm going to, if the chair will entertain it, I'm going to make a motion to uphold the assessor's valuation.
I'll second that motion.
So you're just saying we're gonna deny their appeal?
That
Correct.
would be the motion.
I don't know if I can go along with that.
All right, well, we need to stay on task then. If you have something that you want us to consider to make a motion on, can you let us know?
What was the Board of Adjustment located? What did they do for land and what did they do for the dwellings, the total? Carla. We only got 285,000. That didn't mean anything to me. So what did they do for land?
They left the land at the same value, and they lowered the structure values from 18,128,229 to 14,759,290. So they left the land value the same. They purchased the land in 2021 for $1.6 million. We currently have it assessed at $1.3 million.
Is there any thought that we could make an adjustment on the dwellings themselves and leave the land at its current value? And reducing the land down to from 18 to around 116? Any appetite for that?
I'll remove my second. We can take that motion off the floor. Should we remove her motion and reconsider?
Would you care to do that, Commissioner Landine? If not, we don't have to.
You wanna put the structures at what?
Leave the land alone at 334,460, and move the land at some compromise to about 116,000 and change. Lowering it $2 million overall.
I can't support that. Can you explain the consideration? I mean, if the land you valued at 1.3 and they bought it for 1.6, why isn't it at 1.6?
Well, we're using a valuation scale that is a uniform way to value all property. We don't just put the sale price on the properties. We come up with averages and medians and.
We put that into a model and we use that model.
And I understand that. I don't know if the general public does, but.
Yep, great question.
Which, if you did the 85% of the 1.6, that gets us close to the 133.4. So it's in line of assessed valuation. It's now comes down to leaving the land that, but is there any adjustment on the building?
I just think that their comparables make more sense to me. And that's why I'm willing to reduce the building by about $2 million. But, and I can't make a motion here, but
You still have a motion.
I have a motion on the floor, but if I turn that down.
Well, let's vote on, I'll re-second my motion. Let's vote on that one, see what happens.
So which one do you want to vote on?
Her motion.
Commissioner Landine's motion is to remain with the land at 1,334,460 and the buildings at 18,128,229. Christine, call the roll on that one?
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
No. Substitute motion? Leave the land at 1,334,460 and lower the property the buildings at 16,128,229. That's my motion.
No, you can't motion, but that's all
I
right.
can't motion.
You
I
can't
make a
motion.
motion, but somebody pick it up. Hearing with no motion. And Sherry, if we don't agree, we go where?
Then you would leave it at the board's or the assessor's recommendation, and they would have to appeal to OHE.
Wouldn't it stay at the local boards change already?
No.
The local board has already lowered it.
I'm gonna
Every session is
cut
de
this off.
novo.
Mike,
or-
you got a
Yeah, it starts over.
I'm working on it. Give me a second.
Thank you.
He'll only be here till 8:30, 10 o'clock.
I have a motion if you're ready.
Commissioner Poppins has a motion.
I would leave the land value at $1,334,460, structure at $16,915,540, for a total of $1,225,000. Or 18,225, or 18,250,000, sorry.
And the property, Mike, was at 16,009.
The board was at 16,093,750.
16,950. Do we have a second on this motion?
I'll second it.
We have a second on this motion by Commissioner Poppins, second by Commissioner Landine. Christine, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes. We have made that adjustment. Thank you. Next item is Hy-Vee South Dakota District for 18. Scheduled time 2:30.
Our next appeal is parcel number 270.16.10.003A. It's owned by HVSD DST. It's located at 210 West Willow Street in Harrisburg. It is a neighborhood market built in 2021. It is average to above average quality, normal condition. It consists of 30,258 square feet. The lot size is 155,615 square feet. Our assessment went out at $2,813,008. This was a appeal to the local board. The local board lowered it to $2,621,304. The Director of Equalization appealed back the local board's decision to be heard at county board, having the assessor recommendation stay at $2,813,008. The subject is well below the purchase price, which was purchased in December of 2021 for $6,357,589. It's in line with assessment equities, and I'll go to page 2 to show you that. It is, the assessor recommendation is to leave it at the $2,813,008. On page 2, you can see some assessment equities of properties in and around the Harrisburg area. One is also in Harrisburg, one in T, and one in Sioux Falls. They're all neighborhood grocery stores. The sale price, the sales of similar type properties is on page 2. It's very similar to the property located in T, and they're equally valued and equally assessed. The subject property is currently being valued at $77 per square feet using the cost approach to value. The range indicates a value between $85 and $105 per square foot. The market is indicating a price per square foot between $191 and $234 per square foot. That's the recommendation, is to bring back the value to $2,813,008.
Okay. Is there a representative from Hy-Vee here to speak on their appeal? Are they coming, Carla?
We did not hear any
We
RSVP
haven't
back
heard
from them.
anything from Hy-Vee, okay. Commissioners, what's your wish on the Hy-Vee situation?
My motion would be to stay with the assessor's recommendation of $491,704, and then on the land, and then $2,321,304 on the structure, for a total of $2,813,008.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Christina, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion for appeal is denied. Number 19, RS Capital LLC.
These are going to be a series of town, or twin homes in Harrisburg.
Are they similar?
Identical.
They're identical. So some of the information that we submitted to the board we supplied you with sales that are directly across the street and then showed you a map of where the sales were on similar properties. That occurred between, I believe, May of '23 to August of '23, but I'll review that with you, but they're literally the same type of home. We made this appeal as simple as possible because they are all very similar. So our first appeal is parcel number 270.82.05.005A. It's located at 535 Bunyan Drive in Harrisburg. It is a two-family duplex, two-story, built in 2022, has 1,725 square feet. It does sit on a slab. It has two full bathrooms and one half bathroom. It does have a single stall, oversized single stall attached garage at 424 square feet. The assessed value went out at $351,078. You can see the pictures, the front and the back view. Currently, we have it assessed at $204 per square foot. The cost is showing between $196 and $201. The market is indicating a valuation between $199 and $202. The assess went out at $351,078. The local board lowered it to $256,500. I appealed back the local board's decision to bring it back to the $351,078. And here's the map that I was indicating. Everything that's in the red or pink highlight are the properties that have sold. You can see sales in June, July, and August of '23, anywhere between $350,000 and $355,000. Everything in blue is being appealed. And they're nearly all identical. Current listing for the property, this is at 515 Harper, is $350,000. They're also being rented at approximately $2,000 per month. It's also being a rent-to-own type situation, as indicated in the listing. And then you'll just see random comparable ones, 1 through, I believe, 6. They're just all nearly identical. Not sure how you want to approach. I think we should take into consideration in detail the first one and then go from there on the remaining.
Mr. Spellerberg, do you want to come up?
Got some information here for you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks everybody for coming in. Okay, so can you go back to that development picture, or do I do that? Here we go. So it's kind of a unique development. These are unique properties specifically designed for young professionals. So all the bedrooms, bathrooms are upstairs, living area downstairs. So we were able to sell 4 of the units last year before the rates changed. Since then, we had to take 6 of the homes off the market and rent them because the market has changed with the rates. So when I went to the Harrisburg County or Harrisburg City Council, we had 8 units under contract for $285. That is the current market based on the interest rates. I brought in all 8 purchase agreements. Apparently that wasn't enough because they weren't closed sales. So I just handed over 3 closed sales at $285,000. And then we had to change for the last ones. These are being developed right now. We had to change our floor plan because they weren't selling. So these are all slab on grade single story. So I don't know how else to do it, but this is the current market value on this. And if you don't see that based on the actual sales that have closed in the last 60 days. I don't know what else, because they're identical floor plan, identical square footage. And I'm asking for a sales value at 285, but a 90% tax assessment at 256.5 on all the units, because that's what the value is today.
I did look on county records, I believe as late as Thursday, and I did not see any sale that has been recorded that has sold.
Those are all, I actually brought in closing statements from the title company.
This is after November 1st, though.
Yeah. So they were after November 1?
Correct.
Okay.
You were able to sell some of these for 350,000 prior?
Before the rates moved, correct. Yep.
How many of those did you sell?
We sold 4
4 at that rate.
out of the 10 that we had available at the time. The remaining 6 we had to hold back and rent.
And you sold how many at 285?
There are 8 under contract at 285, which is the last remaining units. The rest are switching floor plans.
Are building costs coming down slightly?
Not really, a little bit. We saw some lumber decrease during that time, but not a ton.
Were these 8 units under contract, were they rented prior to,
Nope,
by the owner?
Nope.
Or not rented, not rent to own?
nope. These were on MLS, actively listed, sold on the traditional market. I mean, that is the value today.
I'd rock and roll with 285.
The last sale was on August 14th?
There was a sale this
Or
month.
August 11th? No, August 13th. Which,
Are you talking last year?
yeah, 23. We're talking
It looks like
up till
August,
November 1st,
August 25th.
August 25th? Oh, there it is. Sorry, I was
Yep,
looking at
and then we had to
July.
pull the rest off the market because they wouldn't sell at that price. I mean, interest rates really affected these properties because the livability of them for younger professionals that are financing the homes.
Do you have any on them? You say you do have some that you're selling now at 285?
Yeah, there's 8. These units right here are under contract.
Which ones?
It's the first 8 up here. So this one, this one, this one.
So
that one.
not the appealed properties?
No, but these are perfect comps. for
What
actual
changes, were these structures changed slightly then?
Nope, the 3 that have sold, exact same. The only difference would be the 2 under RS Capital have a little bit bigger lot than the rest of these.
So the 2 that you're appealing have a little bit bigger lots?
Yeah,
Is
the
that-
first 2 just under RS Capital have a bigger lot than the rest of the units under BAH.
The ones that you sold then are smaller?
Correct.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
And in fact, my original assessment on the first 2 RS Capital were $450 per unit for some reason, even though I bought them at $297.
So, Carla, we're doing the one that is ending at 27082050005, correct? I mean, are we talking this all in one? Because we got two different lands here.
We have
Yeah,
to,
they're 2 different ownership names, so we did separate them.
we need to vote on them separately.
Yes,
Yep.
okay,
So on 005A,
yep.
I could support leaving the land at 50,370 and putting the structure at 246,630.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second.
And that is my motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Landine, second by Commissioner Poppins, land at 50,000, dwelling at 246. Christine, call the roll, please.
I think specifically it was 50,370 and the
Okay,
structure was 246,630.
thank you. 6:30. Christine, call the roll.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes. Next item. Now, those were the larger ones, correct?
No, we got a second one to do, and
We have
it's,
005B. It's basically the same. You don't have any additional testimony on it, do you?
No.
Okay. Then,
I don't, sorry.
do you want to say anything else on it? They're the same? Okay.
The same.
Then I would move for the same on that parcel as
Well,
well.
leaving the land at
Leaving
the,
the land and then putting the structure at 246,630.
The land stays at 63,174.
Was the land valued differently? I was
Yes,
just
it's a
looking
bigger
at the
lot.
same.
Bigger lot.
Okay.
How-
Hold the phone, then I'll do
How
some
how
math.
much larger are these? These seem so consistent, Brian, so how much larger is the lot here?
I don't know the difference in square
Is
footage.
it the lot? Is it the size of the?
The B is probably 2/3 bigger than the A on this one. The A on the first one under RS Capital is close to the same size as the rest.
Yeah.
The really big one is the B.
And you
But
can
I've
see
driven-
that on
Yep.
on the board. It would
I'm
be
gonna-
number 12.
B
Yep.
is here.
Just give me a second. I'm gonna
Yep.
amend that motion. I just gotta do some math.
Okay. I mean, I've driven through there and I didn't see that the lot size was,
It's just this one is really,
well, one just shouldn't distort the whole thing.
Yeah.
So,
It's a little over twice as big.
Yeah.
is it that? Yeah. I've had to mow it. It sucks.
are you leaving the structure at 246,630?
yes.
Leaving the land,
No, I'm gonna amend that part.
okay?
Just-
Because otherwise the logic would be the same, so just the larger land.
Yeah, the land is twice as big, but we do have a 20% obsolescence of it because of that.
Okay.
It's a bit of an outlier.
So then, yeah, I would do that. Stay with the 246,630 and leave the land at the 63,174.
Is that a total of 309, 804 then?
It is.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second to leave the dwelling price at 246 and the land prices at, what would that come to? I didn't get that.
It's 63,174 on the land.
Total of 309,804.
Correct.
Christine, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes. All right, thank you. You got more?
Yep.
Yeah, all the BAH.
Can I allow a person of privilege congratulations on your appointing to the city council?
Thank you very much.
Okay. Next item are items 21 through 28. BAH Properties LLC. Okay. Carla?
These are all the same type of properties.
These
Did
are
you
all
want me
the
to go
same,
through the
right?
first one? Yep. They're just different ownerships, but they're all the same type of property.
So, for the record, we have to repeat every one of these, correct? As I look to our auditor for instructions. Okay, so the first one, Carla, we're going to deal with is 270.82.03.022A. So we keep going down A or B or A or B.
Correct.
Commissioner Landine, if we follow the logic, the structure should be the same. It's just, again, the land portion that maybe differentiate. Are you good with that analysis?
Yes, I'm not gonna change any of the land values.
Okay,
So what you're saying is, repeat that, Commissioner Poppins?
we'll use the same logic, use the
Yep.
structure value of 246,630, is that right? And then
Whatever the land was.
whatever the land was for each parcel? Is there anything you'd want to say about these properties
Well,
different?
can you give me an example of what the land is valued at on those?
Yeah.
This, so it's 63,174 on this first, nope, sorry,
No,
that was the last one.
43,000.
4365.
So then that's still gonna put the value at almost 300,000 for an assessment when the actual value is 285.
So how can we, if you have sales,
It's 289.
that documentation that you're
85.
selling these things for
89.
285,
This-
how can we assess him
Oh.
larger than if we're using logic here?
The only logic I can share with you is the differential from the August to, it's the November 1st.
But were these properties sold prior to that time?
No.
No,
No.
So that would take the first one to 289.
So these are all current, kind of.
The ones that sold for 285 were after the assessment date. That's the point.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't we leave them at 285?
Because that came after November 1st valuations. If they had been 350, have dropped dramatically over that 6-month period of time or more. So November 1st, which is the date that we have to try to pick, or that we don't pick, but the state picks. Yeah.
And now we will analyze those 285 sales during our 2024 sales review or our assessment ratio study and make those changes for 2025. And everybody in that neighborhood should thank you for that.
yep.
I look at this and think, I mean, I understand what you're saying, Commissioner, but it still doesn't make sense to me. I mean, if we're selling these things, this is real. What we got to deal with here is, he's got sales contracts at 285,000, and that's what the going rate is. Why would we charge them more now than what they're selling for?
Because we have data that says in August, they were 350.
So can I,
Were these on the market
yeah,
at that time? Okay.
they were not at November 1st, no.
So subsequently, these were built after that.
Or were slabs at
Yeah,
that point.
I mean,
Yep.
I watched this being built. There was nothing there. So
That's why I'd asked if anything had changed in the structure or not substantially. Because I don't disagree that based on his closing statements, market has changed for these properties.
Yeah,
But they also were supported at a much higher valuation in August, which is August and November versus November now till, when do you hope to close on these? April, May?
But if
So,
they weren't built, I mean, if they're just sitting there, you don't know, they aren't built. I understand.
Well, they had to been built November 1st. They were
Yeah.
built November 1st.
I'm gonna make a
So-
motion to leave the land at $43,065 and the structure at $261,75.
261,750?
I just have $75.
That's $304, right?
That's higher than what you had on the other buildings, isn't it?
It is, but I'm just adjusting for the land and what he's selling that place for, what he's been able to get purchase agreements for.
So what was the land?
The land is 43,065.
4365,
And
and that plus the 261.75 five, I just rounded to $75. That essentially is the,
For a total of what? 3?
So that takes you up $2 higher than the assessor's recommendation.
Yeah.
the assessed value on the house is 304,138.
Right.
But the total assesses,
And I'm
340.
saying change that to 261,75.
the total,
No,
okay?
Total would be,
Why not leave it at 285? It's a simple number.
it'd be 304,140.
oh, you're right. Yeah, I mean, that's,
So my assessment value would be $20,000 over the actual sale price.
You
the
can't-
total assessed value is 347,203. So I was going to keep the land where it was, lower the assessed value from the assessor to 261.75.
And that would still be higher than the selling price today. What's wrong with getting at 285? I mean, where the market is.
Well, we weren't able to consider that extra 6 months of marketing, after November 1st on the other 30,000 properties in the county either. I do respect the point that you're making here, though. I will say that.
And I don't really want to have to come back and do this again next year. Because that's what I feel like I'm going to have to do.
You said you had brought multiple closing?
Yeah, there's 3 closing statements with Jim. 3 of the 8 that are under contract.
Did I only see one of them here?
I think he only gave us one copy.
Yeah, sorry, I only
Oh.
brought 1 copy.
Okay.
Commissioner Landine, can I offer you the chair so I can make a motion?
Just
Well, I'm,
question,
pondering-
did
I'm
you have
pondering a
these
motion.
on an MLS, or how
Yep,
did you market them?
they were on MLS.
And are they currently on the market, listed right now?
As pending, correct.
Pending? Do you have other ones as well?
The ones across the street, but those are going to be a single story instead of a 2-story. Because we had to change the floor plan to be able to try and sell them.
Okay.
There's nothing else that's listed.
I'm gonna amend whatever I said before.
Okay.
And leave the land where it is at the 4365 and set the structure at 242,000.
So that will bring it up to 285. Mr. Pappas, do we have a second?
It's 285,405.
Oh, 65. Can I say the other? I'll second for discussion, but I'd like to see the other, if you each got a copy.
These are identical.
Oh,
They're not identical.
No,
They're,
that-
they're different
Yeah.
ones.
We have a motion and a second to put the land price at 43,065 and the building at 242 and change,
Just 242.
for a total of 285. Yeah, okay. Commissioner, do you have any comments or questions? If not, the chair's gonna call the question here.
how many are like this one, where it's still 2-story? That
There's 5 more for sale that haven't closed yet.
we're addressing today?
No,
This-
these are not, those that have sold are not any of the
Correct.
appealed properties.
Right.
But we're using this sale against, is it identical to what we're talking about today?
Yes, they are.
They are.
The
And
exact
how
same.
How many of the properties that we're talking about today are like this property?
Every one of them,
Every one of them?
the exact same.
But are the land values different on every one of them? Therein lies the problem.
Yeah. Oh, they're close.
So,
Yeah, land values does fluctuate, geez.
And this is simply your asking price now on the MLS?
Correct.
Call the
So
question.
we have to go through every one of these.
Yep.
Let's call the question on this one, which is 022A, which was, as I said before, 43,065, and the house at 242 something or other, bringing it up to 285,000.
that's not my motion.
That's not your
The
motion?
motion was 242,000 on the structure.
Yep. And the land at 43,065.
Correct.
Correct. Okay. Christine, call the question, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes. Now we gotta go on 022B. We'll be here all night.
I think Harrisburg just
I'm
put it
gonna-
at the back of the meeting.
I'm gonna make a motion to leave the land at 32,340 and put the structure at 252,660.
Second.
For a total of,
I'm not doing the math.
285. We have a motion by Commissioner Landine, second by Commissioner Poppins. Christine, call the roll.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries. Property ending in 023A. Which could be the same motion Commissioner Landine is.
If you guys wanna make it easy, Commissioner Landine, do you want all the values, the rest of these values then to go into 285?
That's what I'm trying to accomplish,
Okay,
yes.
So why don't we make it easy and we'll say that leave the land value what it is, the structure value is the difference to make a total of 285.
Yep,
And I'll
that's,
do the math,
you'll do the math?
I'll do the math.
Okay. Are you good with that?
I'm good with that.
But I would appreciate, for the record, if you would just read through them. I'll sit back here and do the math. Don't worry about what the structure is. I'll fill in the blank. Work?
So you want the chair or Kristen to read the item and,
Yep, Kristen, you can read the parcel number. You can say that the land will be at for the next one, parcel number 023A. Land value 32,340, the difference of the structure to make 285 total.
correct.
Read each of them that way, do your motions, and I'll do the rest.
It's a wonderful motion, Commissioner Landine.
Somebody's got to get us back on track.
Well, is that your motion?
Yeah.
Okay, Commissioner Poppins?
Second.
Kristen, call the roll.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes.
Okay, so this is on structure 270.82.03.023A with the land value at $32,340. Difference coming up to $285,000.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made, motion second. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries.
Parcel number 270.82.03.023B. Land value at $30,000. Difference in the structure would equal to $285,000.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, Kristen?
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries.
Parcel number 270.82.03.024A. Land value at $32,340 with a structure difference to equal $285,000.
Bless you.
So moved.
Commissioner, you have a second?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries.
Parcel number 270.82.03.024B. Land value at $30,000. The difference with the structure totaling $285,000.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries.
Parcel number 270.82.03.025A. Land value at $32,340 with the difference of the structure totaling $285,000.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries.
Parcel number 270.82.03.025B. Land value at $32,340 with a difference of the structure totaling $285,000.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries.
Parcel number 270.82.03.026A. Land value at $32,340. Difference in the structure equaling $285,000.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries.
Parcel number 270.82.03.026B. Land value at $31,935. Difference in structure totaling $285,000.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries.
Parcel number 270.82.06.001A. Land value is at $46,890. Difference in the structure totaling $285,000.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries.
Parcel number 270.82.06.001B. Land value $35,295. Difference with structure totaling $285,000.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes,
Parcel number 270.82.06.002A. Land value is at $34,058. Difference with the structure totaling $285,000.
So moved.
Second.
call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries.
Parcel number 270.82.06.002B. Land value is $33,705. Difference of the structure totaling $285,000.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries.
Parcel number 270.82.06.003A. Land value is $35,820. Difference with the structure totaling $285,000.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries.
Parcel number 270.82.06.003B. Land value is at $32,340. Difference with the structure totaling $285,000.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes.
Parcel number 270.82.06.004A. Land value is $32,595. Difference with the structure totaling $285,000.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes. Motion carries.
Parcel number is 270.82.06.004B. Land value $32,340. Difference in structure totaling $285,000.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes. Motion carries.
Parcel number is 270.82.06.005A. Land value $32,340. Difference of the structure totaling $285,000.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes. Motion carries.
Parcel 270.82.06.005B. Land value $32,340. Difference of the structure totaling $285,000.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes. Motion carries.
Parcel 270.82.06.006A. Land value is $33,008. Difference with structure totaling $285,000.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes. Motion carries.
Parcel number 270.82.06.006B. Land value is $32,340. Difference with the structure totaling $285,000.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes. Motion carries.
Parcel number 270.82.06.010B.
Are those different?
Which one? Sorry.
Smart Homes LLC,
Same units.
same exact unit?
Yep, he's just not here. So,
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Go ahead with that.
Okay. Land value is $39,150. Difference with structure totaling $285,000.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes. Motion carries.
Parcel 270.82.06.012B. Land value at $50,325. Difference with the structure totaling $285,000.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes. Motion carries.
Sorry to do that to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We are now on item number 45, Midland Estates LLC. Carla?
Mr. Chairman, I will, after this, I need to take a short break for a phone call.
Okay. Do you want,
We'll do it after this
let's
one.
just take care of this one and then
Yep.
we'll take it. Okay.
Our next appeal is parcel number 270.94.03.010. It's located at 201 Thelma Avenue. It's under the name of Midland Estates LLC. It consists of .232 acres, which is approximately 10,135 square feet. It is a partially structured, single-family residence. We have a current assessed value on the land at 60,168, and the structure, incomplete structure, is 63,150 for a total valuation of 123,318. This property was appealed to the local board. The local board, let's see. The local board put a value on the structure of 0. So I appealed the local board's decision because there was a partial structure there. When we value our incomplete structures, we use a price or a percentage of completion guide that was developed by our Mass Appraisal CAMA program. So we follow what is there and we value it as a certain percentage completion as of the legal assessment date. The date in which this property was determined percentage of completion was actually the end of September of 2023. On our 3 comparables, page 2 of the presentation, we are showing you some lot sales that have occurred. The lot sales are about $6 per square foot, and with the current valuation system in that area, all the lots are being valued equally. I believe it's roughly at about $5.95 a square foot. I'd have to do that particular math, but they're all equally assessed valuations of the lots. The biggest reason why I appealed back the local board's decision because they did lower the structure value down to 0. So with that, the assessor recommendation is at $123,318 for a total assessed value.
Okay.
Carla, the photo.
Yep.
With the, some of the tieback, is that a November 1st photo, or what day was that?
That's September 27th.
September 27th, thank you.
Do we have somebody here representing Midland Estates?
On the phone, maybe.
On the phone?
Oh, yes, I'm here. I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time hearing.
Would you state your name and address, please?
Colleen Elcock,
Okay.
and I'm with
Colleen.
Van Buskirk Construction.
Okay. Okay, Colleen, your turn to talk about your appeal.
Sure. I guess I have one question. What was the percentage complete that your appraisal system had it at?
Yes. Great question.
Looks like 29% complete.
Yep, 29% complete.
Okay. All right. I'm fine with that. Our lot price that we have on this, we have it at $35,000, and that's what we purchased it from Midland Estates for $35,000. So I guess the lot value is, considerably more than what we had it at. For all 10 of those that we have over there, we purchased each one of those lots at $35,000.
What was each one is at 35 or 55? What did you say?
3.5.
35. And when was those purchased?
So we have 2 of them were purchased just at January 1st, and then the other ones are kind of they're on a contract. It's internal. Midland Estates and MV Properties are together on that development, so it's an internal transfer that will happen when we sell the house. So those 8 houses over there right now, or 7 houses over there right now are not sold yet, but that's the transaction amount.
More would be coming once the house sells.
Yeah, it'll be included in the entire house sale, basically. We would record both deeds at one time. It'll go from Midland Estates to MVP and then to the new homeowner all at closing.
Yeah, I don't know if that qualifies as a good sale amount. and it looks like the rest of the property land-wise is that, I would move that we stick with the recommended values of 60,168 for the land and 63,150 on the structure.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion amongst the commission? Hearing none. Kristen, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Landine,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes. Wayne, I'm sorry, your appeal was denied. We thank you for your time and your call-in.
Okay, thank you too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Mr. Poppins, okay.
So we're taking a recess?
I can't find my pen.
Two does not constitute a quorum, so we're still in active session here. Sorry, folks, it drags on.
Well, we were at the local board meeting till 10:30 p.m., so this is not
We won't get you out of here before 4.
I heard that meeting went till 2 a.m.
It might have, because he left at.
No, I was the last one.
No, but then they stayed after.
Carla, the last items here are in the gray. What is this? What is this?
Their stipulations, so they agreed with the assessor.
So they've all agreed.
Yeah,
So-
these shouldn't have just all got set at the same time. We ran into that before with some of these properties, and it was a
So if-
nightmare because we have to vote on each one.
We gotta hope.
So I think we should at least, I mean, if I was chair, I would have put at least 5 minutes for each of those. Because we're way behind.
Oh, we got our dragon. We got some,
I know, but there's a planning and zoning meeting
yeah,
today.
I know it's 6:00.
6 or 6:30?
Yeah.
We'll talk as fast as we can.
It takes time. Why do we have to?
Thank you.
We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then the rest of them are all non-contested.
Which ones are non-contested?
These here.
Which,
On the back of it, those, right there.
so we can get rid of,
So you can get rid of,
is that the
6.
last item on the agenda?
So the last one really to be
Oh, that's
taken
just
care of is
53, okay.
Eric and Amy. So we should be able to get out of here by 4:30. If Commissioner Pompous comes back. Where are you gonna hold these things? Are you done now at 5:00?
Yeah, we're done,
I
and
know,
we're supposed to
I
be done
know.
at 5.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Supposed to be. I mean, we might make it.
All right, we may.
We might.
Then we get to stay. And stick around until God knows when tonight. And tomorrow it's 9 to 9.
That's, that little green red light, that's up there for a reason.
Hey,
And it isn't his.
you tell me. We
Signify.
get to talking here, we're playing the game here, I don't know.
They
It's
are
up there for
not
a
Christmas
reason.
If we
lights.
get out of here
Yeah.
at 5:00.
Yeah, they're not
If we get out of
Christmas
here, I'm gonna
lights.
pound on your head.
Well-
We're still recording, Jim.
Push the eraser button.
I like that. They're not Christmas lights.
You can judge. Right.
I wanted to lower all those to 2.
Mr. Poppins.
Oh, you wish.
Sakes.
No, yeah, saved a lot.
We're at his mercy right now.
Okay, what
Hey,
you're saying.
what is he?
I
What's your
wanted,
frustration? You wanted me to, or what do you mean? Like stipulation?
Based on what?
There was nothing to base it.
Hey, Carl.
That's why they have to do it.
If we're unable to get out of here in due time, notice that the one commissioner held up
I
our.
don't know what it is. Where did
I won't
you
forget.
get it? No, yeah, just give me.
No, I don't.
So these ones back here are.
Carla, we're gonna take up number 46 with Daniel and Jessica Walter.
Yes, our next appeal is parcel number 271.14.01.008. It's located at 1824 Tom Sawyer Trail in Harrisburg. It's owned by Daniel and Jessica Walter. It is a single-family home, sits on 1.25 acres. It is a one-story home built in 2022. It consists of 6,214 square feet. It does have 7 bedrooms. It is on a slab. There are 7 standard bathrooms that are the 3 fixed, so a regular bathroom, 2 half baths, and 2 fireplaces. It does have a couple different garages. One is an attached garage. Let me show you right here. We have an attached garage of 1,520 square feet, but then we also have a guest garage of 723 square feet for a total of 2,243 square foot garage. The current assessed value went out at $2,675,471. It was heard at local board. The local board lowered it down to $1,695,997. The reason why I peeled back the local board decision from the information that was supplied to us, the biggest consideration was on incomplete structures. So when they came up with a price per square foot, they were using incompleted structure costs to make their determination. That's why I peeled back the local board's decision. On page 3 of this appeal, you can see we found 4 very similar homes that we felt were similar. None of these homes are ever built to, they're custom-built homes. They're, so to find a true comparable is hard to find, but we found some properties that we felt were comparable to the subject property. They're consisting of anywhere between 3,000 square feet on the main level to 3,700 square feet. Some of the additional square footage would be considered in the basement, so lower level finish. That valuation system does account for a lower value. So when looking at it on a cost per square foot, the subject property has the main living area of 6,000 square foot. The comparables have main level area of 3,000 square foot, but 27 to 3,000 square foot in the lower level. So the price per square foot, when you look at the subject property with the comparables, the subject property is being valued at $431 per square foot. The cost range is between $415 and $561, so we're looking at that main level square footage. With the market is indicating a price per square foot of $722 per square foot or $1,103 per square foot. So the subject property is well within the cost and the market of the comparables that we're showing. Again, our assessed value went out at $2.6 million. The local board lowered it to 1.6, and I appealed back the local board's decision, bringing the assessor recommendation to $2,422,394. During this appeal, we had not gotten into the home for an interior inspection. The property owners graciously allowed us entry, and at that time, we did make some adjustments for the pool house, and I believe I think it was just the pool house on that. We had that graded similar to the home classification, and the assessor recommending to lowering the grade on the pool house. The subject property is located in the south center of the map, and you can see where the comparables are located, just to the north of the subject property. With that, I will stand by for any questions.
Jessica and Dan, you want to come up? Make your appeal?
Can I hand you stuff?
Sure.
Okay. Like a fifth grader, I forgot to put her name on paper. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
You guys share one, sorry. Okay, so yeah, we went to the local board. They did lower us by about $1 million. The comps that we had originally submitted, we had calculated square footage wrong because we didn't understand at that point that main level square footage versus basement level square footage. So we recalculated. He went back about 9:30, 10 at night. They lowered us more once we did our recalculations. It then went to the county. They had made the, like she said, recommendation to stay at the same value due to the homes not being fully assessed. So we called the assessor's office and they said, well, actually two that we used were fully assessed. One was at 85%. So we just took that comp out. And then we asked for the actual formula that the assessor's office uses for the basement square footage. So I wrote that on the top for you guys. They said to take the basement square footage of any of the comps that we want to use, multiply it by $131 a square foot, add $12,000 for a bathroom, and when you get that total, they told us to minus that from the assessed value of the home, and that would be the equivalent, they said, then of a slab-on-grade home, so that we could use them properly for comparables, because there just aren't that many slab-on-grades that are large homes in Lincoln County. So we actually took the assessor's office equation, and we used it on all of the comps. So we started with slab-on-grade comps. I'm not going to read through all of them because I know we're running late, but the first page is slab-on-grade, meaning we didn't have to use the basement formula. So they range from $251 a square foot up to $296. So then on the next page, we actually took ones with basement. So again, using the assessor who came out to our house was super, super nice, and she spent about 40 minutes there and kind of explained everything to us on what to use. So we used her equation, and these are comps that are directly in our neighborhood. The first one's a repeat from the first page, that's a slab on grade. The next ones actually have basement square footage, so I calculated out for each of them. Basement calculation to be removed from total assessed value is basically that basement square footage times by $131 a square foot, plus $12,000. So we removed that from the assessed value, divided that by their square footage, and we came up with a square foot price for all of them in our neighborhood. And I know our house is bigger than every house in our neighborhood, which we chose
Well, the main floor.
Yeah.
There's equivalent total
the
square
main floor.
footage of-
And what I was gonna say though is that I'm a real estate agent, so in our neighborhood, we're by far the most expensive house. If our house was sitting in Grand Prairie or some of our other comp neighborhoods, it would be significantly more money. I don't know if that factors into it, but we have all the other comps in Lincoln County. I mean, we probably have 50. We tried to narrow it down, again, using their formula, 224, 270, 270, 295. I won't go through all of them. I mean, this one on Slate Creek, $259 per square foot. It sold just here in November for $2.2 million. That's currently assessed at $1.2. So there's nothing that has sold. Oh, yeah, I can go through those. The comps that they used at the 440, what was the square footage? Can we go
Well,
back to that?
Just, just by looking at that, just weren't trying to see where they got their numbers that were equivalent to our assessed square foot. I couldn't find it until I actually just took their main level square foot and
And
divided
divided
it by the full assessed value.
So they didn't take out
They all
their
have, they
basement.
all have full basements, and these are all 8,000-9,000 square foot homes.
So they
plus.
didn't use their formula of taking it times $131, minusing it out. So that's what we were told by the person who came to our house is how they do it. Because you have to give some credit for a basement. I mean, a basement's not zero, but it's also is not as much as main level. So anyways, we have a bunch of them that we recalculated the comps. We called again this morning to make sure that we were right, because I said, how could they have provided 4 comps and been incorrect? Because you would, I mean, I think that they understand what they're doing on comps. So we called again this morning, and she said, nope, you have to minus off for the basement.
Well, and just, you know, me and my wife went to these neighborhoods that, some of these comps that we have. I mean, these are all $3 to $6 million homes in these neighborhoods. We're not in that neighborhood. We're not even close. I mean, our neighborhood, Sunny Haven, I mean, we're looking at an average of probably $1 to $1.4
Yeah.
million homes. You know, so we're not even in the ballpark of these homes. I mean, I understand our main square footage, but that's our whole living space, no basement. And so it's just, it doesn't think, our assessment value just to us compared to all the other homes that we looked at, were close to our assessments, we're not even in the ballpark. I mean, we were looking at 12 to 13, 14,000 square foot homes that were equivalent to our
Assessed
assessed
lower
value.
than ours, yeah. Keep it on track.
Ma'am, excuse me. I'm taking a lunch break.
No, that's okay.
We have the red light on. We have to take some action now.
I'm gonna make a motion to leave the land at 142,497, reduce the structure value to 2,171,594.
I'll second that motion.
Motion been made and seconded. Further discussion? Kristen, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes. Motion carries.
I do want to thank you for coming.
Next item, number 47, is by the Chad and Nicole Schmoller. I'm gonna murder that name, I know, but.
Schmoller.
Schmoller.
That's not me,
Okay.
but I'm Brad.
All right.
Are you the owner?
I'm not. I'm the development side and the realtor.
You
Okay,
did represent
so
it.
that should be a consideration for the board, that only the appellant or the owner or an agent can appeal someone's value.
Is
That
he-
was an OHE
Are you
ruling.
appealing it, or are you just representing them?
I'm just here to represent them because they had to work today.
Is it clear on that? That they can send a
Owner
represent?
or agent can appeal a property value.
The owners appealed it, but they have an agent representing them.
Are you a registered agent?
In the state of South Dakota, yeah.
Okay.
As far as that goes, I'm a
Okay.
licensed real estate broker. I sold them the lot. I owned it.
I think he meets the qualifications to
I'm not gonna kick them out.
be an agent for the appellant.
Carla,
Let's
move
go.
on, please.
Yep. Our next appeal is parcel number 271.14.01.010. It's located at 1811 Tom Sawyer Trail, owned by Chad and Nicole Schmuller. It is a single-family home built in 2022. It's a two-story, consists of 2,762 square feet, four total bedrooms. It has 3 full baths, 2 half baths, a fireplace. It has 1,636 square foot garage. You can see the diagram on page 1 of the documents, some additional photos. We do show some comps, 5 comps that we felt were relevant to the property in being appealed. So our comps are scattered 2 stories with lower level. These are not the easiest of comps to find, so that's why they're quite scattered throughout the county. But I feel like we did find some good sales. The number 4 sale has 10 acres and it sits on ag. I just wanted to give you that for the consideration. Currently, our subject property is being valued at $332 a square foot. The cost range is between $274 and $385. The market is indicating a valuation between $303 and $421 a square foot. This was heard at the local level. The local board lowered it to $649,272. The director of equalization appealed back that property value to the assessor's valuation of $916,401. And this shows you just where our comps are lying. They're throughout the county. On the last, or this page right here, it does show the appellant comp summary, so we did put together something that the appellants gave us as comparables. Just wanted to show you that for consideration. The location of the appellant comps, and then the detailed information.
They raised the land prices.
With that, I will stand by for any questions.
Was there a reason, Carla, quickly, that the first appeal process raised the land prices from $145,000 to $150,000?
Say that again?
Well, according to my sheet, they raised first appeal raised the land prices from $145,000 to $150,000.
That was an error. I did strike that,
Oh,
and I initialed it. That was my entry error.
okay. So the land price stays the same?
The land price stayed the same.
And the overall adjusted, what they recommended was what, 600 and what?
$649,272.
Okay, thank you. All right, sir, you want to come up and make your comment for Chad and Nicole?
Yep, I'm Brad Stearns. I live at 1105 West Tradewind Street, Sioux Falls. Based upon the comparables that the assessors provided, it shows finished square footage, which on the, can I scroll on this
Yeah.
thing? Page 2, so the price per square foot versus assessed value, the finished square foot numbers here are all what I would say fairly close as far as what the subject is. But those properties themselves, the above grade versus finished, is looked at different ways. And like, for instance, Trading Post Road, that's sold, but that was, the finished square footage on that was 45,000, or 4,542 square feet. Which is why it sold for $1 million or more. Piping Rock, same thing, it's 4,876 square feet finished. The subject we're looking at here is 2,700. Bedrock Circle, 4,003 finished square feet. Deer Park Drive is 5,494 finished square feet. So if we're gonna look at the main floor above grade finish as the determining factor, we need to take into consideration the total house, the footprint, and what's finished square footage, in my opinion.
What is the square footage you said is comparable to the 2762? Or what is the finished square
Well,
footage?
these comps are comparable, but the square footage.
No,
finished-
your subject property, what is the square footage on that one?
That's 2762. That'd be main floor and up. It's a 2-story again. Basement is unfinished. So the max, I'm just pulling up, I've got their floor plan here if you want it. They have 1,059 possible square feet to finish in the basement. So at the end of the day, the biggest this house can be is 3,700 square feet. And all of these comps are 4, 5, 48.
All on the main level or higher.
No, that's total if you have a lower level, a main level, and an upper. But
So we're comparing 37 to 45, 48, 54.
correct. And I find it difficult to, from a market perspective, to justify a 1,000 square foot difference in a house and say it's the same price per square foot. Also, location, I get it, it's tough. The 2 stories are more and more, but few and far between. I mean, you've got Indian Hills and Sioux Falls, and location's important too.
We do show that the lower level of the subject property is finished, 1,156 square feet.
Say that again.
So the subject property,
Yep,
lower level is finished.
yep.
So 1,156 square feet. So if you look at our diagram, our comparables, you can see where we showed the main level, or the main level, which would include the main floor plus the upper. And then we also indicated how much lower level is in each one of our subject property and our comparables.
Yep.
So we can show a true comparison.
I also know for a fact they built this house in 2021 or 2022 for $780,000 at the peak of construction pricing, arguably.
Did that price include the lot?
It did, yeah, because we sold those lots for 160, I believe were the lot prices on those.
Is there anything else you want us to know?
Anything else for you to?
No, I just,
Got a motion to leave the land at 145,272 and lower the structure value to 700,565.
I'll second that motion.
Motion made and second. Kristen, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries. Item 48, we have Kathleen and Michael Long.
That is a rescheduled. We had been notified by the property owner that they will be heard on the 23rd of
Okay.
April.
We now move to item 49, which will be Jody Hildebrand.
I do have some additional documents that the appellant wanted for consideration for today's meeting.
Thank you.
They were not part of the agenda packet. She emailed them to us. So our next appeal is parcel number 270.74.15.011. It's located at 407 Quinn Avenue in Harrisburg. It's owned by Jody Hildebrand. It's a single-family home, 1-story, built in 2021. It has 1,173 square feet, 2 bedrooms. It's on a slab, has 2 bathrooms. It has a 968 square foot attached garage. Our total assessed value went out at $275,305. We show some comparables, one of which is the subject property themselves as a comparable.
Hello?
Hi. So we do
Can you hear
have
me
a-
okay?
Yep, Jody
Yep.
will be with you in a minute, okay?
I'm just going over your information with the board.
Okay.
The subject property, there is an assessor recommendation, and it's on the lot itself, so that lowered the price per square foot down to $220 per square foot. The cost range from the comparables shows a cost range between 221 and 236, so just on the lower end of that. The market is indicating a market range between 221 and 259 per square foot. And I did look at the lot dynamics of the lot, and it's triangular in shape, so I did give a consideration for an adjustment to the lot value, lowered the lot value from 50,232 to 32,651, just because of the triangular shape of the lot. There is a guideline in our appraisal manual that allows for that type of adjustment.
You lowered the lot price to what, Carla?
Lowered the lot price to 32,651, and that's part of the assessor recommendation. On the map, you can see where the subject property is located, and that's in pink. It's in the northeast corner of the map. And the comparables are all in Harrisburg and relatively close to the subject property. With that, I will stand by for any questions.
Jody, it's your turn to speak to your appeal.
I guess I'm sorry, you're going to have to bear with me. I had to kind of get back to work here because I needed to get to the bank, and I just pulled up to the window here and dropping it in here real quick. So when I went to the local board, I was actually appealing because of my square footage of my home. I noticed you had it larger than what it actually was. And so that they had made a recommendation to bring that down for my structure. So now you're saying that you're bringing my land down as well?
Yes, your land price has been dropped from 50,232 to 32,651.
I'm sorry, I can barely hear you.
Do you have your microphone on?
Jody, your land has been dropped from 50,300 or $232 to $32,651.
I'm sorry, the 32,000.
651.
651. Okay.
Is that true, Carla? Am I missing something in the packet?
Yep, that was part of the assessor recommendation to lower the value of the land to 32,651.
Thank you.
Okay, so then is the structure, what's the structure then too?
The structure stayed the same. So it's a total assessed value of $257,725. And you paid $269,800 in 2021.
What was that price again?
She paid $269,800 in December of 2021.
So it's going to be a total of what for 2020?
$257,724.
724. And what was the structure going to be again? I'm sorry.
It was going to stay the same at $225,073.
But you've got it being finished square feet at 1,173?
Right, that's from our exterior measurements. I'm not sure where the measurements were.
I provided the footprints from the actual Nielsen construction.
Yep.
But I'm only at 1,130 square feet for that house.
Yeah, your number of square feet went down by 43 square feet.
Okay, because I don't know what you're looking at, but when I went in there for the appeal, you guys are showing my finished square feet at being 1,173.
And then you came back and said the correct square footage is 1,130.
Correct.
Okay, so it's a reduction of 43 square feet.
Right, but you're still saying that my structure is going to stay 225,000?
We did not adjust anything for the structure, because we had an assessor go out and measure your property.
Okay.
The difference between the 43
Yeah.
square foot difference is likely between the architect's plan that you're looking at, which is a real blueprint that's down to the inch,
Yeah.
and our sketch, which is to the foot. So there can be a difference. 43 square feet is probably within reason.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Was there anything else that you wanted us to
Yes.
know?
I don't have anything else.
Okay. Well, we thank you for your input. Commissioners?
I move to uphold the assessor's valuations
I'll second. The recommendation, or the.
Yeah,
recommended
32.
that.
with the lowered land value.
So you understand, the motion, Jody, is for the land to be classified at 32,651, the dwelling at 225,073, making a grand total of 257,724. Kristen, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you for coming, Jody. Drive careful on
Thank
the
you,
way
guys.
home. Drive careful on the way home. Item number
Oh.
50, we have, oh boy. I'm not going to try that one.
Our next appeal is parcel number 270.81.09.008. It is located at 151 Central Park Court. It's owned by Okansana and Vitaly Poborinsnik.
Okay,
It is a single-family home built in 2021. It has 1,525 square feet. It has 2 bedrooms, full basement, 2 bathrooms, an attached garage of 1,272 square feet. The assessed value went out at $485,174. We do show 4 comparables that we felt were very comparable to the subject property. We did take into consideration that the other comparable properties also do not have any lower level square finish in the basement, as does the subject. Comp number 4 actually sits on a slab. We also indicated, that it is a large garage, so we gave some garage square footages on the comparables as well for your consideration. Currently, the subject property is being assessed at $318 per square foot. The range is between $263 and $306 per square foot. The market is indicating a market range between $285 and $341 a square foot. I do want to highlight that the subject property is coming in higher than the cost of the comparables, and most of that is because of the larger garage that the subject property has. So the board, or the assessed value went out at $485,174. The local board made no change to the subject property. And then the appellant appealed that decision back to the county board. And my recommendation is to leave it at the $485,174, and that's the value that the assessment notice went out. You can see on the map where the subject property is located, and then the comparables that are all within Harrisburg and rather close to the subject property. I do want to highlight in green, the appellant, in many discussions, more online discussions through email exchanges, they're really comparing their property to the one that is highlighted in green, and that's their subject property. Some of the biggest differences that the appellant has brought to the board or to me at the time, is the subject property had a lower tax value than they did, and they were saying that the subject property had finish in the lower level finish, but that lower level finish got added for the 24 assessment year, taxes payable in 25. So there was a year lag in the completion of the lower level finish in the tax year. So she was looking at the previous year tax bill. With that, I will stand by for any questions, and Ethan, just let me know that the appellant did submit some online information. I'm not sure how to get that up to you, but it was just emailed to us just recently.
Do we have a representative here for that property?
They're on the phone.
Are they on the phone?
They're on the phone.
No on the phone?
No on the phone.
Okay. Commissioners, we've heard from Carla. We don't have anybody here from the phone. What action do you wish to take?
I'll move to uphold the assessor's valuation.
I'll
We have a
second that.
We have a motion and a second to uphold the assessor's value. Kristen, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes. Appeal is denied. We now have the one property dealing with 014 Stearns, John and Brianna.
Our next appeal is parcel number 270.82.03.014. It is located at 424 Blue Ox Circle in Harrisburg. It's owned by John and Brianna Stearns. It is a single-family home built in 2022. It's a two-story. It has approximately 2,588 square foot on the main and upper level. It has a full basement that is not finished. It has 3 full baths and 1 half bath. It does have an attached garage of 1,095 square feet. The assessed value went out at $691,121. Show some comparables. I'll come back to that, but the assessment went out at $691,121. The local board lowered it down to $435,000. I did appeal the local board's value, bringing it back to $691,121. We do feel that the comparables that we are presenting to the board today are very similar to the subject property. Currently, the subject property is being valued at $267 per square foot. The cost range using the comparables supplied by the county show a range between $260 and $304 per square foot. The market is indicating a market price per square foot between $273 and $328 a square foot. Our subject property is right here in the bottom center of the page. In our comparables, 3 of the comparables are all within Harrisburg. We did pull 1 comparable out of the Sioux Falls area just to show another like property that has sold. With that, I will stand by for any questions.
Okay. John or Brianna?
I'm Brad. I was
Oh,
coming.
Brad, okay. Round two.
I'm John Stearns, property owner that is appealing this decision. You'll see before you the information that I submitted through the appeal. It includes the evaluation workbook, which is where we came up with the $450,000, and then at the local board, they took it a step further and went down to $435,000. The comparable properties that have been identified by the county all have far more finished square footage than we have today, and far more finished square footage than we could ever have, as we have about 1,100 square feet finished in the basement when the time comes. Furthermore, land sizes are bigger on 2 of the 4 that were identified. Garages, much bigger on a couple of those. We have a 3-stall, there's a 6-stall on one of these.
Yeah, 6-stall, 4-stall. If we're gonna do it off square footages, that's fine, but again, there's 4,600 square feet finished on one, 4,000, 5,400. One's a ranch style, the one that's close by in the neighborhood is assessed at 537,000, which is the closest comparable as far as the valuation and assessed value, in my opinion. But the rest of these are in the 800 plus range and drastically different as far as features, finishes, square footage, and location.
The county supplied comps number 1 and number 3. There's no lower level finish in those. 2 and 4 have lower level finish.
And one is actually larger than the subject property.
Is there anything else you wanted us to know?
Yeah, I guess comp 3 is comparable in the fact that it's gotten a lower level finish. Square footage is 1,000 square feet smaller. It's a different style. It's ranch versus two-story. But price point wise, as far as where that's at, it's at $537. So compare apples to apples, that's the best comp.
But it's 800 square foot smaller above grade.
Correct. It's also a ranch style versus a two-story, because square footage on a main floor versus going upstairs or downstairs, cost different, footprint of the house, cost to build, future growth into it.
And we have MLS data here that shows, is this comp 1?
That's 2.
This is 2, so where's comp 1?
Comp 1 was not sold open market.
Okay, never mind that. Okay.
Comp 1's actually a two-story home too.
It is.
Yep, and comp 2 has 4,000 finished square feet.
Anything else?
Any other comments? Commissioners, what's your flavor?
I would move to leave the land where it is at $79,088 and lower the structure value to $536,325.
For a total of
$615,413.
6, which is higher than we had.
No. We had 691.
Well, excuse me. 615. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Landine, a second by Commissioner Poppins. And would you state that one more time, Commissioner Landine? And the land would be at?
536,320, or the land's 79,088 and the home at 536,325.
Kristen, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you, folks, for coming in. Now we have the last one here, Eric and Amy, dealing with Wheeler, property number 270.82.03.015. Carla?
Correct, that is located at 423 Blue Ox Circle in Harrisburg. It's owned by Amy and Eric Wheeler. It is a single-family home built in 2022. It's a one-story home, 1,880 square feet. It shows no lower level finish, 2 full baths, a fireplace. It does have an attached garage of 1,032 square feet. The assessed value went out at $627,992. It was appealed to the local board. The local board lowered it to $325,422. I appealed the local board's decision and brought the value back to $627,922. We do show 5 comparables that we felt were very similar to the subject property, some of which were older than the subject property. And although I did put the lower level was no finish, it is partially finished. At the time of appraisal, it was 40% complete. It wasn't showing up on the on the report because of the partial completion. We did indicate the other comps on their lower level square footage. They're at either 100% complete or no lower level finish. You can see comparable number 4 is about 50 square feet smaller, sold for $599,900. Current assessed value is $537,864, so we're not even close to market value on some of these, if not all of them. With that, our subject property is being assessed at $334 per square foot. The cost comparable showing a range between $254 and $367 per square foot. The market is indicating a market range between $328 and $396 square feet.
Anything else, Carla?
No.
If not, Eric or Amy? State your name, please.
Amy Weiler
Okay.
of 423 Blue Ox Circle.
Brad Stearns again. Similar discussion we've had on the previous properties as far as the square footage calculations, the locations, and how that's being assessed based on those numbers. But you go back to the 1333 Plainside Avenue, arguably the best comparable, recently sold. Oh, what did it sell at? $599.9. It's assessed at $537. So I know these guys built their house for $595. I might put some signs in the yard.
Okay. Any other things you want to tell us? Anything more that we should, any questions? Amy,
What did you say that selling price was?
Of 4?
On Plainside, the comparable or for the actual?
The actual.
It was built for $595, not on public market, it's custom, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the basement's wrong, it's only 1,500 finished square feet.
Yeah, so I have floor plans too for all these we've talked about recently.
I just noticed I wanted to appeal mine because I noticed all of my neighbors were similar houses, similar builds, and they were all significantly less than what my price was when I got my assessed value in my neighborhood.
And you may have been looking at old assessed values, but
They were through Beacon, through the
Yeah.
comp search on that.
I don't know if that would have been, depending
I
on the
don't know if
date
they
you
were
looked.
Percentage of completion. I'd
are
have
they,
to look at.
Amy, are those houses all approximately the same age?
Yes, yep. We've all built within the same year
So you.
in our development, on our
Oh,
road.
okay.
Mr. Chair, unless there's something else, I do have a motion.
Okay,
Leave the land value at the 79,186,
Yep.
change the house structure to 499 for a total of 578,186.
we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Nope. Kick it out.
Would you amend your motion and split the difference on the motion I was gonna make?
You just offer your motion, I'll rescind mine, or pull mine.
Well, I was at 517.5 on the structure. If you wanna split the
No,
difference.
I'll second your motion.
Let's split the difference.
I'll second her motion.
Uniformity.
All right. That's my motion is the, land at 79,186 and the structure at 517,537.
Motion has been made. You have a second, Commissioner
I'll have a second.
Poppins? Kristen, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Landine,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you all. Amy, for coming in. Probably not got what you wanted, but it's the best we can do. Okay, we have the
Chair?
next items. Yes.
So on the appellant Vitale and Okasana Poberinski.
Yeah,
There were 2 phone numbers listed on our sheet to call, and
Yeah.
Carter does have, he called back one of the numbers, and they are in our queue. If you wanna
okay,
bring
so
that
we'll go back to Osana and Victali.
What number is that?
Obersink, that is at 4 o'clock, item number 50.
So
Do
we
we have
probably
to-
need a motion to
We'll have to
withdraw the
rescind-
earlier.
We have to rescind our motion. And do you have that recorded?
Whose motion was it?
I think it was Commissioner Landine made the motion, Commissioner Poppins, you
I
seconded.
would remove my second. Or actually, we just need to vote to rescind it.
Yep, correct. Motion to rescind.
Second.
Motion to rescind. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion to rescind is approved. So we're back to listening to them on the phone.
Yep.
Who is on the phone?
Hello?
For? Yes, is this Osana?
Sana. Yep.
Osana, let
would
us
you like
hear
us- yep.
about your appeal, please.
Okay, so we're appealing just based off of some of the comps in Lincoln County and in Harrisburg. The biggest thing for us was we submitted our owner occupancy, and I guess it never got recorded. We kept getting notifications sent to us, but it was being sent to our old address, not the address we were living at. So we were never made aware that we needed to like resubmit it, because I guess they told us they were getting some notifications that it wasn't received yet, but obviously we didn't get those because we weren't living at that address anymore. Also, we have a big discrepancy in our floor plan. I guess they assumed that we have 3 bathrooms upstairs when we have 2. We did submit a floor plan showing that we have 2 bathrooms upstairs, not a finished basement. And then also, the biggest one also was the comps that were used. We have a house next door to us that was assessed for last year's taxes. That's, I mean, practically identical square footage upstairs. They have a bigger deck that's covered, and they had a patio at the time already when they were moving in. They weren't quite done with their house at that point when they moved in. That was assessed at, I believe, $30,000 less than ours, and their square footage is 1527 or something like that, and ours is 1528. So we were wondering why the house next door wasn't used as a comp, as it was probably the closest thing to our house in our immediate neighborhood. And I actually asked the Lincoln County to send me information on that address. It was 157 Central Park Court, and they purchased their land in 2020 for $70,000. And then last year's assessment of their land was $68,184. And we purchased our land in 2021 for $50,000, and ours was assessed at 70. I want to say 3, I believe, 73, 158 or something like, or 154, something along those lines. So just the big market value change in our lot price versus theirs in the same amount of time. Like their lot size, or their lot, price was assessed for less than they bought it for 2 years prior, and ours was assessed at $20,000 more than what we bought it for. So that was another one, just our lot being a lot more expensive per square foot. And I did email some. I don't know if you guys see that. I did email some comps, and they were all corner lots, because I know when we had a meeting with the local board, they weren't sure how corner lots get assessed, and like if they're more than a regular lot or if they're less. So I brought up 5 comps in, most of them in Harrisburg, but some just overall in Lincoln County, kind of houses in the same price range or the same year built as ours, and they were all corner lots, and they were all
averaging out much less than ours per square foot. Ours was on average 26% higher for the lot price. There was, for example, 804 Johnson Creek Court. Their lot price per square foot is $4.16, and it was built in 2021. So it's actually newer than ours. Well, I'm sorry, it's not newer. It's about the same age as ours, and $270 a square foot. And our lot is at $538 for this year, and I believe it was closer to $559 for last year. It was per square foot. It's just the large, I guess, difference in square foot size, or I'm sorry, square foot price for the lots alone. Not mentioning the price of the house itself.
There any other comments, Rosanna, that you'd like to make? Any questions from the board?
Let's see here. I mean, I know that you guys had some comps. Now, obviously, I'm sure you guys do your best on trying to, spread it out and make it all, kind of get comps from different areas. But I'm just looking at, the best comp possible would be our neighbors with a similar size, same neighborhood distance to the school. The information that I got from the county actually said that, I guess comparing it to our lot or our property in general, it was 81%, I believe. Yeah, 81% comparability. So that's just those are the main things that I guess I had concern about, the owner occupancy and just, house right next door to us. It's very comparable to ours that was assessed at much, much less.
Any other questions?
I don't know I guess I've never done this over the phone, so I'm not sure if I have any questions.
I don't hear any questions, Rosanna, from our board members. So at this
Okay.
time, we'll entertain a motion for action on this item.
Okay, do we just find out your guys' decision at a later time? Do you guys just email us the decision, or?
You can just
Do we
stay
get
on
a
the
You
phone.
will
and
stay
you'll
on the
hear it.
phone and you'll
Oh.
hear it.
I would,
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
I'd move,
Perfect.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to leave the land at $70,318, adjust the structure value down to $396,428.
428.
I'll second.
We have a motion to adjust the land, or stay the land at 70,318, to lower the house price down to 396,428.
Okay, but the land price also stays at above, I guess, average cost per square foot.
The motion is what the motion is. Call the question, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes. So that's our final decision, Sana. Thank you
Okay.
for your time. Thank you for your interest. Appreciate it.
Yep, thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Now we move to number 53. And I see those are all in gray.
They're all stipulations.
Okay.
They're all agreed upon valuations between the property owner and the Director of Equalization.
So the only thing we have to do is to read the number and that we agreed with, they agreed with your assessment, correct?
I'll move to approve stipulations for parcel 09751204010 for Beth Hofer, parcel 0965027D100 for Lynette Hogg Company, LLC, parcel 0995026D100 for Renee Olson, parcel 2504032.005A for Lennox Properties LLC, and then parcel 0965127A200 for Benjamin and Talisha Fallberg. And then parcel 28193010001 HK Properties LLC, based on their stipulations.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Motion and a second. Motion by Commissioner Landine, second by Commissioner Poppins. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries.
Move to recess.
Motion to recess. Do we have a second?
Second.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, we are in recess.